Over the years, and today it's certainly not let us down. I mean, the Nottingham Forest fans have played their part as well. Two sets of fans with different various grievances against different authorities have had points taken off them, but the 3 points that are available for both today, it's of vital importance. I mean, you can hear the atmosphere that's building here before kick-off. It really is going to be special.
And there were two big banners unfurled between the two tiers of the Gladys Street end away to our left-hand side, one that read "We shall not be moved." And there was an excellent tifo display in the park stand to our right, which read 1878, the year that Everton were founded. And when the Premier League anthem was played, it won't surprise you to hear, it was vociferously booed by not just those in blue, but those in red as well. But that is very much for another day. For now, it's all about an undisputed 3 points in the Premier League. Everton against Forest. A win could be huge, a loss very damaging, and we are underway with Forest building the first attack of the game. And Callum Hudson-Odoi is flagged offside. No one's told the PA announcer, who's still merrily playing music, but the game continues. Opening 20 seconds. Everton defending the goal away to our left-hand side. Blue shirts, white shorts, white socks. Forest in all red. It's a very traditional scene at Goodison Park. The Blues against the Reds. Forest all red, kicking from right to left. They have the first free kick of the game. Murillo just outside the penalty area plays it back to Matt Sells, all in yellow, away to our right-hand side. And Paul, what sort of game are we expecting? One, I think, based on the form of both and the way that Everton like to play, it could be a very direct afternoon.
Well, we discussed it before the game. I mean, we got to the ground very early, didn't we, from 10:30, 11 o'clock, and we hadn't seen a drop of water hit the pitch. And the last time I was here watching Everton, and that was something that Sean Dyche did, left the pitch very dry, so it was a little bit bobbly at times, but he played over the top. They played in the corners for McNeil, for Harrison, and the ball held up. Already we're seeing now Everton have got free kick halfway inside their own half. Jordan Pickford, the goalkeeper's taken it, and they're making their intentions clear from the start. They're all very narrow, right in the middle of the pitch, and Jordan Pickford's going to hit this long right to the edge of the 18-yard box.
And given Nottingham Forest frailties from set pieces, this is not a surprise. Pickford, Premier League appearance number 250, towards Calvert-Lewin, skips off the pitch, and that's out of play for a goal kick. Minute and a half played, BBC Radio 5 Live, BBC Sounds, Everton 0, Nottingham Forest 0, on what is a busy afternoon of football with two cup semi-finals to look forward to in the FA Cup. Following us here at Goodison Park, Coventry, Manchester United at Wembley, full commentary from 3:30. The second Scottish Cup semi-final, Hearts Rangers, will go some way to match the drama of yesterday. Celtic awaiting the winners. 3 Premier League games as well as this one to keep across. There's also big games in the WSL. 5 Live will keep you updated with it all. Forest building on the edge of the Everton penalty area. Branthwaite temporarily clears. Decore passes responsibility to Mikalenko, and now McNeil on that far side, the left. Everton kicking from left to right. Branthwaite floats it down the line, drops out of play for a throw into Forest, right back position. Paul Robinson.
Dominguez coming into the team for Forest today. Rayner keeping his place on the right side alongside Gibbs-White and Hudson-Odoi. You'd expect Forest will want to play a little bit more. We spoke about Everton, they will be direct, but they'll play in the final third. They'll play in the right areas, whereas Forest do like to build up. They like to try and break the lines and play through that midfield. Two contrasting styles.
Now we'll run you through the two teams when there is the first break in play, in case you are just joining our coverage on 5 Live. As Nico Williams, the former Liverpool player, prepares to take this throw for Forest on that far side, the right. 4 changes for Everton. Coleman, Onana, Garner and Beto dropping out. Harrison, Gomez, Gay and Calvert-Lewin are the 4 to come in. Wood flicks a header down the line, picked up by Everton. Mikalenko will clear into Forest territory. Moussa Niakate battling away with Calvert-Lewin. Referee is Anthony Taylor, saw nothing wrong with that. It's all very loose and untidy in midfield until Nico Williams emerges with it. And now the dangerous Gibbs-White, edge of the penalty area. Back to Williams in the box, right foot pullback. Gibbs-White shot was blocked by Decore. Danger not clear. Wood with the acrobatic volley, didn't get anything on it. Now Ola Aina, left-hand edge of the penalty area. Everton defending resolutely, but Forest looking very dangerous, and Aina will win a throw for his team midway inside the Everton half.
Well, that's that extra bit of quality that Nottingham Forest have got in that midfield area where Morgan Gibbs-White just breaks the line. It's been very, very scrappy, but he just takes control of the ball, breaks the line, and with Williams on the overlap on the right-hand side, quickly in behind Everton, Williams puts in a near-post cross, which Everton do well to scramble away, but Morgan Gibbs-White there, he just looked to cut above the rest.
Such an influential player. for Nottingham Forest. Morgan Gibbs-White in the centre of the midfield, green booted and already yelling to his teammates. Pickford in goal for Everton. Young, Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Mikolenko the back four. Harrison, Gomez, Gay and McNeil in the midfield with Decore behind Calvert-Lewin. Forest continue to threaten on the edge of the Everton penalty area. There's space for Williams now on the right-hand edge. His right foot shot parried by Pickford. Decent save by the England goalkeeper. Williams again on the right-hand side. His cross dug out, carefully nodded back to his goalkeeper by Idrissa Gueye. Forest have started this game very well.
Ominous signs for Everton. I mean, if this continues, I mean, you can hear the unrest already from the Goodison Park faithful. 5 minutes in, I mean, Forest have dominated possession. They've got in behind Everton. Everton have looked scrappy. They've not really started yet. They've not had any decent possession, whereas Forest have got in behind twice and had 2 half chances, you would say.
And now they've won a free kick. Aina, felled by Young on the halfway line. Gibbs-White plays it all the way back to the white-booted Niakate, deep inside the Forest half. 2 changes for the visitors from a 2-2 draw against Wolves. Niakate and Dominguez both in, with Omar Bamidele and Yates dropping to the bench. Sells the goalkeeper, Williams, Niakate, Murillo and Aina. Dominguez, Danilo, Reina, Gibbs-White, Hudson-Odoi and Wood. Here come Everton. Harrison in towards Gomez at the front post, and that's headed out of play for the first corner for Everton, and you can hear what it's done to the Goodison Park crowd.
Well, listen to that. They must have been listening to us talking about the stats from set plays. They know how poor Forest are on set plays to the Goodison Park crowd. But it was Forest, it was Niakate who gave the ball away. Really sloppy pass out to the left to Murillo, who did really well to keep it in, but in keeping it in, he actually lost the ball to Jack Harrison, putting a decent cross. Well defended by Forest, but again, it's the first set play of the game.
And Nottingham Forest have struggled badly from set pieces. Everton, they flourish from these sort of positions. Anthony Taylor not too happy with some pushing and shoving just underneath the crossbar. It's Andre Gomez and Chris Wood that are the recipients of a word from Anthony Taylor. Everton 0, Forest 0, 6 minutes played. BBC Radio 5 Live, BBC Sounds.
He's going to have a busy afternoon, is Anthony Taylor, because Forest will have worked very, very hard on this. They know it's their Achilles heel, and also Everton will have worked very, very hard on it. So the attention to detail of the players in that penalty box at the moment, it's almost a rugby scrum. He's going to have to stop it again. Look, they're almost fighting in front of the goalkeeper. This is going to be a real mess.
It is. They're almost preparing for a ruck. McNeil, corner, into the back post. It's loose in the penalty area. Anthony Taylor rescues Forest by awarding them a free kick inside the penalty area. There are high fives between Wood, Niakate and Williams. The first set piece passes without alarm for Nottingham Forest, and it remains 0-0.
I think that was more the celebration, that the fact that they didn't concede, because it was a real mess. It was a decent delivery by Dwight McNeil. It eluded everybody. It managed to drop at the feet of Chris Wood at the back of the 6-yard box, who inadvertently got overhauled and pulled down for a free kick. But I think Forest's relief that it wasn't a goal conceded.
Niakate back to Sells under pressure from Calvert-Lewin, who is very close to closing that down. Now Chris Wood puts in a challenge on Tarkowski and catches the Everton defender, and that'll be a free kick to Everton, base of the centre circle. James Tarkowski, who was scathing in his criticism of not just his performance but his team's performance at Stamford Bridge. That demolition job by Chelsea, 6-0. And Paul, at this stage of the season, given the position Everton find themselves in, I think the response today was always going to be interesting to see whether it would have any lasting damage.
It was nice to hear James Tarkowski talk like that after the Chelsea game. There's no other way he could talk. Quite often we interview players after games and you get the standard general answer, what you're expecting. It was nice, his open, his brute honesty, and he said what every Everton fan thought.
Pickford, long ball into the penalty area. Tarkowski attacked it. It took a flick off Ola Aina's head, and it's out for the second Everton corner in quick succession.
Well, it's a real threat for them today. I mean, that was Jordan Pickford again, halfway inside his own half. He drops the ball into the 18-yard box of Nottingham Forest. Chris Wood's back there defending. There's nothing he can do other than give Everton another corner. Every
single player inside for Nottingham Forest inside their own penalty area. Everton corner, 2 hands in the air by McNeil, left-footed in-swinger. This should be comfortable for Matt Sells. He was put off by Aina, jumping right in front of him. And a needless corner conceded there by Forest, because for my money, Paul, that looked quite a comfortable catch for Sells until Aina got in his way.
Well, he chose not to catch, which was the mistake by the goalkeeper. He was in a great position. He came out for the ball, he punched it, came off the top of his right hand, and it's gone out for yet another corner. This could be quite interesting today, watching all these set plays. It really could.
Sustained Everton pressure.
Not pretty, but interesting.
Absolutely. This corner on the far side, the right, one hand in the air by Andre Gomez this time, not one of his better ones. and that's easily cleared at the front post by Dominguez. Everton can pick this up on the far side, their left. Harrison swings it in. This time it's met well by Danilo, but Everton are camped inside the Nottingham Forest half, really for the first time in this game, are putting sustained pressure on the Forest back line. Gay goes backwards of square, Mikalenko inside the centre circle, Harrison keeps it moving to that left-hand side. Now Gomez, one of 4 changes for Everton this afternoon. Little touch by Harrison, but quickly closed down by a combination of Dominguez and Williams, and that's out of play for a Nottingham Forest throw in their right-back position. And you can just see, Paul, the effect of the last 4 or 5 minutes, couple of corners, couple of quick presses, and the crowd are right behind Everton again.
Well, you can see what Everton are trying to do, their game plan. I mean, from that corner, Sean Dyche is there gesticulating to his players and beneath us, because from the corner, when the play broke up, his 2 centre-halves, Tarkowski and Branthwaite, stayed up there. He was expecting the ball to be recycled and put back into the box, and when it wasn't, he wasn't overly pleased with his players.
Calvert-Lewin wins a header. Decore won't get on the end of this, and in fact the header that Calvert-Lewin won, he won illegally, and it's a free kick to Forest right in the middle of their own half.
Yeah, he's won a good header there, Calvert-Lewin, at first glance. We haven't seen the replay yet, but Niakate is rolling around holding his head. Both players jump for the ball, and Niakate is just underneath Dominic Calvert-Lewin, so he actually heads his elbow rather than Dominic Calvert-Lewin heading him. It's just an accidental coming together, but a really good win from Calvert-Lewin.
Both managers very close together here at Goodison Park. Tight ground. We know all of its idiosyncrasies and all of its quirks, but the technical areas are not really separated, so Nuno and Sean Dyche could almost touch each other, both patrolling. Nuno with his arms folded, Sean Dyche already barking instructions. 0-0. Everton Forest, 11 minutes play. Ball on halfway. Couple of neat touches by Gio Reyna, making his second Forest start, made his full debut against Wolves last weekend, got an assist for one of the goals, gets another start this afternoon. Everton, the high press now very apparent. Aina dispossessed on halfway. Young's errant ball forward didn't really look. Gay wins a good header, and now Calvert-Lewin wants handball against Dominguez, and you don't need me to tell you that that didn't go Everton's way. Branthwaite feeds it all the way back to Jordan Pickford in the Everton goal. Well,
they've been a lot better the last 5 minutes, Everton. Started the game quite ominously with 2 opportunities for Nottingham Forest and looking all over the place defensively, but they've got some shape, they've stabilised themselves, and they've had a couple of really good opportunities themselves. And like you said, Chris, it's the high press which is quite apparent. As soon as they lose the ball, the manager Sean Dyche and Ian Wone below us, they're really encouraging his team in blue to go and press, put Nottingham Forest under pressure.
Gomez on halfway for the blue shirts of Everton. The Everton fans getting behind their side once again. Ball on the far side, the left. Gomez, plenty of touches for him early on in this game. Tarkowski, another one in a very lurid green pair of boots. Pocket of space for McNeil, 25 yards out, central position. The pass for Calvert-Lewin was the right idea, but not quite the right execution. Still Everton can come forward. Tarkowski angles a ball out to that far side, the left. And Mikalenko, a couple of touches in field. Gomez slows it right down, and the early momentum that was so visible in that attack has now dissipated somewhat. Harrison looking to inject some energy. Mikalenko and Gomez combine, and Gomez is felled by Williams, and Everton have a free kick, and it's another one to notch onto that set piece list. This is in a very dangerous position just outside the penalty area.
That was just an example there of maybe we do label Everton too direct at times, because Sean Dyche likes his teams to play, but in the right areas. He won't waste time in his defensive third or the middle third when he can get the ball forward quicker, and he wants his team to play there. A great little interchange there between Tarkowski. Dwight McNeil turned, was in between the lines, and he slips a pass through to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and that was just an example of where Everton are willing to play in the final third. They just don't waste time in getting the ball there.
It's a free kick on the far side, the Everton left. It'll be swung in by Gomez, who hits that far too powerfully. And from the moment it left his boot, you knew it was sailing over the crossbar, and given everything that we've discussed about set pieces, that is a waste.
Well, that's terrible. I mean, for a player of his experience, a free kick in a great position. We talked about the importance of set plays, and they obviously know the importance of it. The delivery today, actually, so far, I think Everton have had 3 corners so far and a couple of wide free kicks. Both Dwight McNeil and Gomez, they've hardly missed out the first man, apart from the one where Chris Wood drew the foul.
Everton 0, Nottingham Forest 0, as we creep into the 14th minute at now a very pleasant Goodison Park with white fluffy clouds, blue sky. The Everton flag is billowing lightly in a very calm breeze. It's a good afternoon for football, and this has been a good start to this game. Very energetic between two sides that are desperate for the points to pull away from danger. A ball fed down the inside right channel for Everton. Dominguez should deal with this comfortably enough, has Aina there to help him, and then rather dangerously wanders across his own penalty area, swarmed upon by 3 Everton players, but they evade that situation really nicely, De Forest, and are now attacking themselves. Williams in field to Gibbs-White, just outside the penalty area. The Cruyff turn that didn't quite pay off. Branthwaite steps out of defence and can now send Everton forward. Here's Calvert-Lewin, right-hand side of the penalty area. Not sure who he saw there, but there was no one in blue at the back post where he sent that cross. And a promising situation for Everton comes to nothing, 0-0.
Well, that was a real waste by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Branthwaite got him in such a good position. He won the ball in his own half, strode into the Nottingham Forest half. Nobody went near him, got deep into the Nottingham Forest half. Played the ball to Calvert-Lewin wide on this right-hand side. He didn't look up, Decore had gone in, but the ball was the pullback on the edge of the box, back to Jared Branthwaite, but Calvert-Lewin just lifted it harmlessly to the far post.
McNeil away from Williams, trying to find Gomez inside the penalty area. Niakate read that, steps out of defence, pummels it into the lower tier of the Bullens Road stand, and Everton have a throw which they take quickly. 0-0, Everton and Forest. Everton on the attack, Decore on the edge of the Forest penalty area, loose touch, dispossessed by Wood in the centre of the Forest midfield. Dominguez can pass the responsibility to Aina, and Forest can just get a little bit of control back into a game that they haven't really had control of since the 5th minute. Bright start, but Everton have been on top since then. Calvert-Lewin back in the side for Everton, forward to McNeil, who made a decent run across the penalty area. Now he's on this near side, the right, couple of yards in from the touchline. The centrally positioned Gay with the lurid orange boots. Decore moves it on one more. Gomez on the edge of the penalty area. Oh, he slips and then fouls Williams in his desperation to retrieve possession. That'll be a Forest free kick just outside the penalty area. Everton 0, Forest 0, 16 minutes in.
He'll be pleased, Sean Dyche. Just gone into conversation there with Steve Stone and Ian Wone, talking about the way that his team started. I've watched Everton a few times this season, and this first 15-16 minutes of this game, you know, this is the best that I've seen them play. And by play, I mean actually play through the midfield. They're at the high press. They're not just launching the ball forward, they're playing in the right areas. Yes, they are direct at times. Jordan Pickford into the 18-yard box, but winning corners, winning throw-ins. But their actual play, with Gay coming into the side today, Gomez coming into the side today, they are seemingly playing a lot better through the midfield.
Hudson-Odoi for Nottingham Forest, near side the left as they go from right to left, more or less away from their fans who are in the corner of the Bullens Road stand opposite to us. They too, like Everton, have been through it. It's easy to forget that it's the fans that suffer. You can talk about boardroom squabbles, and we know that there are points deductions. Everton's still involved in this rather protracted takeover. It's the fans at the end of the day that turn up week in, week out and just trust the process and hope that all the decisions are being taken in their interest. Not always the case in football. Calvert-Lewin is shrugged off the ball illegally by Niakate just outside the penalty area. And that's a free kick to Everton, and this is in a very similar position to their last free kick, just on the other side, on this near side, the right. And for Everton's sake, they'll hope that the delivery is a lot better than the last.
Yeah, but it's Gomez going again, standing over the ball, him and Jack Harrison. Well, just about level with the edge of the 18-yard box, 5 yards towards us, towards the touchline. It's in a great position for Everton to just lift it into the box. It's all about the delivery. They've got the quality there, but it's about the delivery.
Two options over this. It's a couple of yards away from the angle of the penalty area on this near side, the right, so it's a crossing opportunity rather than a shooting one. Gomez will either deliver it with his right, or Harrison, beg your pardon, with his left. There's a two-man wall that Matt Sells has erected. Gomez or Harrison. Harrison runs over it. Gomez delivers. It's even worse than the first one. It hits the wall, and it hit Rayner, I think, on the thigh. It barely got off the ground.
That's awful. That really is an awful free kick. I mean, you can hear the disgruntled Everton fans. I mean, it's such an easy ball from the edge of the box just to lift it into the box. There's a two-man wall which should literally be insignificant, and Andre Gomez finds that, as you say, the right shin of the right-hand fan on the wall.
Not sure about the fans. It's annoyed you, I can tell.
Well, it has, and Sean Dyche beneath us as well. You could hear his gravelly voice bellowing out as soon as it happened.
Yeah. Everton continue, meanwhile, very close to the corner flag. Young swings it in. That's a good-looking ball. Williams heads away. Mikalenko on the half volley. And that's high and wide into the park stand. Out for a Forest goal kick. It remains Everton 0, Nottingham Forest 0.
Well, he got that all wrong, Mikalenko, didn't he? It come out to him on his favoured left foot on the half volley, but he just wasn't quite there, and he was reaching for it, and on the stretch I think he ended up half volleying it off his shin into the roof of the stand.
They're great when they fly in, but when they don't look so clever. A couple of goals for Vitaly Mikalenko this season. Got one very early on against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park in a game that Everton won by 3-2. 0-0 with Forest, 19.5 minutes played. 5 live BBC sounds on this big Sunday of sport, the FA Cup semi-final between Coventry and Manchester United, to follow us at Goodison Park. 3 other Premier League games. The latest instalment in the title race gets going at 4:30 at Craven Cottage. That'll start on 5 Live, and then we'll join it as and when events conclude at Wembley. Extra time and penalties, of course, a possibility. In the Championship remains Blackburn 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1. That's a big game at the bottom of that division. And some big games in the WSL as well, which is reaching a very exciting conclusion. Gibbs White fouled on the halfway line by Young. Sean Dyche and Nuno continue to be no more than 4 or 5 yards away. And poor old Keith Stroud, who's the 4th official, who has, I think, the worst job in football, 4th officials. They get yelled at and berated, and there's very little they can do, is standing between them both. Ball inside the centre circle. There's a break on here for Everton. It's 4-on-4 if they get this right. Really crucial tackle by Dominguez in the centre of midfield. He had to get that right. The blue shirts were flooding forward. Danilo to Hudson-Odoi, who's been very quiet so far in this game. Young puts him out of play, and Forest have a throw. Great
break there for Everton, a real opportunity, but once again it's Andre Gomez, sloppy in possession. He looks slow, he just looks a yard off the pace, Gomez, today.
Aina with the big diagonal to the blue-booted Williams, the former Liverpool player, edge of the penalty area, right-hand side. McNeil and Mikalenko over to him. Reina in field, Dominguez. Forest going backwards at the moment on the halfway line, but at least they are keeping possession, which is not something they've managed to do so far in this game. And now Matt Sells has it for Nottingham Forest, all in yellow, angled towards the halfway line. That drops out of play, and Forest will have a throw. So let's go to Ewood Park. That big game at the bottom of the Championship was level at 1-1, but not anymore, Adam Cottier.
No, Sheffield Wednesday are back in the lead here. Marvin Johnson with the goal. Swift counter-charge downfield, down the right of the penalty area. Masaba crossed, right-footed, and Johnson slotted the ball in, left-footed, at the back post, and Sheffield Wednesday could be climbing out of the Championship's bottom 3 here. Rovers 1, Wednesday 2.
Thank you, Adam. Potentially for the first time since the second weekend of the season, that for Wednesday, if they were to hold on. Gomez towards Decore, nice idea. Angled ball over the top, but Matt Sells read it well and collects before Decore could cause any damage. Everton 0, Forest 0.
Talking about the Blackburn game there, I was in the Blackburn training ground yesterday. Talked to John Eustace, the manager. I mean, he's really positive. They do need to pick up some points. I mean, they've had a really disappointing season, but what a result that could be for Sheffield Wednesday today at Ewood.
Could bring some teams back into trouble as well, the likes of Birmingham and Huddersfield in particular. In the WSL, Manchester United and Spurs are playing as Gibbs White bursts into the penalty area for Forest. Now Hudson-Odoi on the edge of the penalty area, has to cut back onto his right foot and just loses the momentum of the attack. Aina now near side the left. Hudson-Odoi provides the overlap and gets it now. Left-hand edge of the penalty area. Forest building slowly, patiently. It's almost at walking pace. Reina to Dominguez. All this happening in a very small triangle just outside the box. That's a clever ball to Danilo. Really well challenged on the edge of the box by Gay. And then there was a little follow through on one of the Forest players. The referee saw it, quite happy for play to continue, and continue it does. Aina has to go all the way back to Niakate. He in turn nods back to Sells. It's Reina who is picking himself up gingerly. I think he'll be okay. And we are okay to continue. And just signs there that Forest, despite being under a little bit of pressure, still have threats themselves moving forward.
They do, and Everton are fragile. You know, they do concede goals, and obviously they are where they are in the league, and that won't be out of the players' minds. And for all the good play and all the good possession that Everton have had, Forest are dangerous. But that's what Idrissa Gueye gives you from an Everton point of view when he's in the team. He works so hard in front of protecting that back four, and he did it
midway through the first half. Everton 0, Forest 0. Another loose pass in the direction of Calvert-Lewin that Niakate cuts out, and every errant pass, every wayward ball forward just greeted by more groans from the Everton faithful. the first goal in this game feels absolutely massive if we are to get a goal, just simply because of the way Everton have been this season when they do go behind. They've not won in 33 Premier League matches after conceding first. They just do not pick up points when they concede first.
I think the problem for Everton has been their home form. I mean, we all do our stats and look at the work going into the game. Everton have lost 34 home games in 4 seasons, which is the highest in Europe's top 5 leagues. And then the points deduction as well this season. You can't afford to lose that many games at home.
Manchester United 2, Tottenham 2 as a full-time in the WSL, by the way. That is a dress rehearsal for the Women's FA Cup final taking place next month. 25 minutes played at Goodison. Everton 0, Forest 0, 5 live BBC sounds. Hudson-Odoi miscontrols, and that's out of play for a throw to Everton. Nuno applauds his side's ambition. This is his 22nd game in charge of Forest since replacing the sacked Steve Cooper in December. Just 4 league wins, and he hasn't got a particularly good record against Sean Dyche. He's won just 1 of the last 6 against the Everton head coach, who in turn is barking instructions to his side. Still no breakthrough.
Well, it's been a better game since the reverse of this fixture. I had the misfortune to do Nottingham Forest Everton earlier on in the season, and I think the line that I used was the football came off in tears at the end of that game. It was brutal. I think we spent most of the time looking for the ball dropping down from above the stand, but this has actually been a really good watch so far. 25 minutes into the game, both teams trying to play. It is a little bit nervy at times, but there's a good press, they're good in possession, and it's been a really good watch.
Yeah, the atmosphere does feel laced with tension given what is at stake. Watery sunshine now at Goodison Park. We can just about make out the very faint shadows from the players. Danilo moving forward for Forest. McNeil challenges Reina fairly in the centre of the Everton half. Mikalenko plays it back to Pickford. His left foot clearance isn't great, and this is Gibbs White on the edge of the penalty area. Just couldn't quite control. Nervy moment that for Pickford, whose left foot clearance did not go very far, but Forest couldn't capitalise. And now it's the away side's turn to be a little bit loose in possession. Decore and Murillo challenge on halfway. Drops to the feet of Dominguez, who prods it rather hopefully towards Wood, who has been on the periphery of this game as an attacking threat for Forest. Idrissa Gueye has the freedom of the centre circle to waltz into, and he's doing just that. Decore wants it in the box. Gueye delays, rolls his right foot over it just outside the penalty area. He's almost stopped. Gomez keeps the move, progressing to that far side, the left. It'll be swung in by McNeil. Calvert-Lewin is unmarked and heads tamely at Sells. And that, in a game of few opportunities so far, goes down as probably the best one of the match.
7 yards out, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, absolute free header. Acres of space, finds himself in between Niakate and Murillo. You can see why Forest have conceded so many goals from set plays. That was just a simple ball into the box by Dwight McNeil, just a little bit too high for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Couldn't quite get enough purchase on it, straight to the goalkeeper.
That was a big opportunity for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. 27 minutes in, Everton 0, Forest 0. Another goal at Ewood Park in the Championship. Adam Cottier.
It is 3-1 to Sheffield Wednesday. Blackburn Rovers have now conceded 74 goals in the Championship this season, and it's a real horror show for the goalkeeper Ainsley Pears. A back pass, he miscontrolled it. He tried desperately to scramble back and clear it. He didn't. It went into his own goal, and Sheffield Wednesday now have a 3-1 lead that could be taking them out of the drop zone in the Championship. Blackburn Rovers 1, Sheffield Wednesday 3.
Callum Hudson-Odoi making good progress across the penalty area, and his right foot shot was just about gathered by Pickford before Chris Wood could run in and cause any damage. And Paul, really for the first time in this game, we've seen Callum Hudson-Odoi able to stretch his legs.
Yeah, Ashley Young's done really well against him. He's had to make enforced change with Seamus Coleman out the side today. Ashley Young drops to right back with Jack Harrison in front of him. And the thing with Jack Harrison in the team, he works really hard. So we'll double up with Ashley Young. And with Callum Hudson-Odoi, the threat that he is down this left-hand side for Forest, they've got Harrison and Young marshalling him really well. Anthony
Elanga is back on the Nottingham Forest bench. He has been an influential player for Nuno Espirito Santo. Gomez had the opportunity to go forward, and you heard there from the crowd that he didn't take it, instead pirouetted and went backwards. Decore and Branthwaite exchange passes. This is inside the Forest half, but only just. Now the forward pass to Mikalenko, his left-footed ball in. Aina heads away, Gueye on the edge of the box, right foot shot is in! And Goodison Park erupts with joy and relief. Idrissa Gueye on the edge of the penalty area, a right foot shot that goes in off the post, and that could be a huge goal for Everton. Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Well, listen what it means to the fans inside this Goodison Park Stadium. It didn't look like the cleanest of strikes from Idrissa Gueye, but it somehow crept into the far corner of Max Sells' goal. Decent build-up play again. It's Dwight McNeil who whips the cross in, headed away by Aina, picked up at the edge of the box. He's in acres of space. Not a great connection, but it somehow bobbles across Max Sells into the bottom right-hand corner of the goal. It's a decent finish. It goes through legs. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on the goalkeeper, but I think he can get a step off before he gets a dive. But listen to what it means to these Everton fans.
That could be a very, very big goal. And Goodison Park erupted. They haven't had too many goals to cheer here, and it doesn't matter how they go in. And that was a bit of a daisy cutter. It did bobble in off the post. Idrissa Gueye's second goal of the season. It's his first goal at Goodison Park since 2017. He's had a couple of spells here. He enjoyed that one, and so did the Goodison Park faithful. So, Forest, what have you got? Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 0. On the balance of play, you can't say they don't deserve it, because they have been the aggressors in this match so far.
Chris, I was just going to say exactly the same thing. On the balance of play, the way that the team have worked, on the possession that they've had, the opportunities that they've created, you can't deny that Everton have denied that goal.
Everton 1, Forest 0, 15 minutes to play until half-time. Nuno and Ashley Young having some heated words. Ashley Young tried to retrieve the ball from Nuno very quickly to take a throw, and Nuno... Out of all the Premier League managers, if you are going to pick a fight, I don't think Nuno or Sean Dyche would be anywhere near the top of my list.
It'd be an interesting one between them, wouldn't it?
It would be. It really would be.
I'm not sure where my money would go on those.
So very plucky of Ashley Young to do that. Free kick to Forest, deep inside their own half. Interesting to see what their response will be now.
I think you just give it to Dyche,
you would.
Between him and Nuno.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'd give Sean Dyche it over 19 other Premier League managers, to be perfectly honest with you. Former England international Paul Robinson with us on 5 Live. We'll be getting the team news from the 2-3 o'clock Premier League games in just a moment's time. We'll see how this attack develops for Forest. Dominguez is leading it. Gibbs White. Forest need to get him involved in the game a lot more if they are to get back into this game. With 31 minutes played, Everton 1, Forest 0. Aina, near side the left, wearing the red base layer. Hudson-Odoi is fouled by Young, and that'll be a free kick to Forest on halfway. Taken quickly, it's with Danilo with the blonde hair. That's an optimistic, hopeful ball that is easily headed back to Pickford by Dwight McNeil, and Everton can start again from the back. Everton 1, Forest 0, so let's go to Villa Park and get the team news. Aston Villa, Bournemouth. Charlie Slater.
Well, so much talk about fatigue this weekend. Just 2 changes for Villa, who had a late night in France 3 days ago. Leon Bailey and Morgan Rogers in for the suspended Douglas Luiz, and Nicolo Zaniolo, who's injured. 3 for Bournemouth. Kelly, Ouattara and Senesi come in for Semenyo, Mepham, who's ill, and Tavernier, who's injured.
Thank you, Charlie. And with the ball out of play for an Everton throw that Mikalenko will take in a fairly unthreatening position. Let's go to Selhurst Park and get the team news for Crystal Palace West Ham. Paul Scott.
Crystal Palace make one change to the 11 that started last week's surprise win at Anfield. It's in force. Jefferson Lerma out injured, replaced by Chris Richards. West Ham knocked out of the Europa League in midweek make 3 changes. Ogbonna and Emerson come into defence, replacing Agard and Cresswell. Paquetá replaces Bowen up top.
Thank you, Paul. Both of those games available for you online via the BBC Sport website and app, and we'll keep you right up to speed here on 5 Live. Both 3 o'clock kickoffs. Fulham-Liverpool at 4:30. First half on 5 Sports Extra, and we shall join it here on 5 Live as and when events conclude at Wembley for the FA Cup semi-final between Coventry and Manchester United.
Very much looking forward to the drive home. Not that I'm wanting this game to end, but I think what we've got on 5 Live this afternoon, it's going to be a very, very good drive home this afternoon.
And the live sport continues with the Chevron Championship as well to reach an exciting conclusion on 5 Sports Extra later. Here's McNeil for Everton, who have their tails up. They lead this game by 1-0. Can't quite slide it through to Gomez. Gibbs White runs away with it for Forest, near side the left. Hudson-Odoi didn't look as he played it optimistically towards Wood, who'd set off in the opposite direction, and now Mikalenko can bring it forward for Everton. Gomez and the goal scorer Gay. Neat triangle on that far side the left. 35 yards out, centrally positioned now. Gomez to Decore. Young is offering on this near side, the right, he's ignored. Harrison, give and go, lovely football, Everton, and a crucial touch by Murillo to divert it wide. And of all the talk of directness and long balls, that was really intricate play by Everton. Calvert-Lewin involved, Gomez and Harrison. Some good defending by Danilo, and it's out for an Everton corner.
I said to you, having played for Sean Dyche myself, he wants you to play in those areas. He doesn't want you to put the ball at risk in areas where you can cost yourself a goal or a chance on your own goal. But in the final third, in the opposition's half, he lets players play, and that's exactly what they did there. Dwight McNeil, Jack Harrison, Calvert-Lewin, great interchange, and almost had an opportunity for Calvert-Lewin.
Another set piece for Everton. Gomez, corner, far side the left. That's a much better delivery. Headed away at the front post by Murillo. Back out to the corner taker, Gomez. Now Harrison drives it in. That wasn't one of his better ones, a bit too low. But the clearance isn't overly successful. And Gomez has it back on that far side the left by the corner flag. Battling with Nico Williams and Hudson-Odoi, and winning Everton a throw a couple of yards away from the corner flag.
The thing that Everton do well, and what Sean Dyche has got his team very well drilled at, it's not in the initial set play necessarily sometimes. It's when Forest clear, the way that Everton ring the box and they win the second balls. It's all about the second ball. If they don't win the first header, they don't allow Forest to get out the box. They don't allow them to get possession back.
Decore on the right-hand edge of the penalty area was, well, he thought foul, but referee was quite happy for play to continue, and continue it does. And that, in a microcosm, sums up Forest in this first half. Williams with the ball forward, Gibbs-White wasn't looking, it hit his back, and it drops out of play for a throw to Everton, who do have the lead, and you whisper it quietly from an Everton perspective, Paul, have a measure of control with 9 minutes to play until half-time.
And I'm actually enjoying watching Everton play, seeing their intricacy in the final third and the performance that they're giving. They certainly don't look like a team that are just coming off the back of a 6-0 defeat away at Chelsea. But I think we've seen with Sean Dyche the way that he's galvanised his side after that 10-point deduction. You look at the run that they went on after that, and I think that possibly after the Monday night performance at Chelsea, it's not necessarily the defeat, it was the manner of the defeat and the changes that he's made today. It's certainly had an effect on the 11 players out there today.
And if you're a Forest fan, if you're here and you're watching, most of them are standing in the corner of the Bullens Road stand. Their away form, not just this season, but across the 2 seasons in the Premier League, has been, well, nothing short of abysmal. Just 3 wins from 35 away Premier League games. There's a reason why they are towards the bottom end of the table, and a big part of that is their away form.
It's incredible, isn't it, to think that the 2 seasons, 3 wins in 35 games. But that shows you another thing, the importance of the City Ground. And their home form kept them up last year. And then you read this week about season ticket prices and the hike that they've had at Forest. Again, it's the supporters that are hit once again. The loyal supporters that played such a huge part in keeping them up last season find out this week they've got a massive season ticket increase. It's difficult.
And that hasn't gone down well. Here's Decore now for Everton, striding through midfield, right foot ball in that had really nice shape and trajectory, right in that corridor of uncertainty between penalty spot and 6-yard box, but Calvert-Lewin just a couple of yards behind play, can't get on the end of it. Forest have a goal kick.
They need another one, Everton, to in the second half. You just get the feeling it's that type of game. The longer it goes 1-0, the more Forest will grow into it. Everton will become more nerved. There'll become a point in the game where do you stick or bust, as in, do you just sit with what you've got, or do you go looking for that second goal? And you get to 60, 70 minutes, and if it's still 1-0, Everton will get deeper and deeper, and Forest will come into the ascendancy. We've seen it so many times this season.
Yeah, the Everton fans are really appreciating the work that Everton are putting in to win the ball back. They are ratting around midfield, looking to dispossess any of the Forest midfielders who have failed to have an impact in this game. And they trail Everton by 1-0. 5 Live, BBC Sounds. Decore won't get on the end of this because Niakate steps out of his centre-back position to move into the left-back position and clear downfield. Wood on the halfway line. Young's volley back into Forest territory. Harrison and Dominguez jump. Gomez picks up the loose ball, central position. Midway inside the Forest half, Hudson-Odoi is then fouled by Gomez. And that'll be a free kick to Nottingham Forest, just inside their own half. Bright sunshine now at Goodison Park. And this has been, Paul Robinson, a good game, because I think the majority of people that we spoke to, you have that almost gallows humour, don't you, of teams that are towards the bottom end of the Premier League, and Fans often think, oh, what's this going to be? It's not going to be a great game. It's not going to be pretty. But the ball has spent the majority of the time on the floor.
It's been a good watch. I mean, I, like you, we spoke before the game, wondered what type of game we were in for, whether it was, it wasn't going to be a good watch, but actually it has. It's two teams that are genuinely trying to win the football match, playing they're set up in a certain way. Yeah, there's going to be nervy moments and they are going to play direct at times, but generally in the midfield, the quality of the play has been good.
Aina with a direct ball to Wood, and this might drop for Gibbs White, whose right foot volley is dangerous. Wood's there, and he can't turn it into the back post. Really good opportunity for Forest. Danger not yet clear for Everton. Forest still have it with Aina. He swings it in with his right foot. That should be Pickford's, and is. And there is a case in point. Everton cannot switch off. It was Gibbs White with a right foot volley. He didn't really get hold of it, and Wood at the back post is denied by an excellent Pickford save.
Chris, that's a brilliant save, it really is. It's such a good save by the England goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford. The volley comes in from the far post, hitting to the ground. It's not hitting the target, so the England goalkeeper's completely out of position. Chris Wood's at the far post. Jordan Pickford scrambles across his goal, gets himself set, and he makes a fantastic block against Chris Wood at the far post. That is a fantastic save by Jordan Pickford, and he gets up and he celebrates with his fans like it was a goal. It was an incredible save by the England goalkeeper.
He had two attempts at it, Chris Wood, at the back post. The first one brilliantly saved, and then he was just smothered for room as he tried to squeeze it in a not too dissimilar position to the chance he missed against Spurs when he hit the post from, 2 yards out. This one was really well saved by Pickford. Everton's latest move breaks down on the edge of the Forest penalty area, and the red shirts can swarm forward again, although swarm is not the right term because they're not really breaking forward with any great pace of Forest when they get hold of it. They're quite happy to keep it and take the sting out of the game. Niakate square to Murillo on the left-hand side of the centre circle. He ambles into Everton territory and then suddenly accelerates through and then wastes his ball forward, and Jordan Pickford can collect for Everton. 1-0 they lead, and we're into the last 5 minutes of the first half.
They're just not having any real sustained spells of possession, Forest. When they do get the ball there, like Murillo, he's looking up, he's gesticulating with his arms. There's not much movement in front of him. His players aren't moving. The centre-half's moved all the way into Everton's half, and he ends up wasting the pass because he feels that there's nothing on in front of him to play. Forest just need to get a hold of this game, just get the ball and enjoy some possession, because at the moment Everton are dominating in most areas.
Pickford with another errant clearance picked up by Dominguez on the halfway line. Gibbs White to Danilo, the blonde hair and the white wristband. Aina on halfway, tries to slide it down the line. Harrison is in the way. We've got a round of applause from Sean Dyche, who is right next to Jack Harrison. You do feel for the wingers that are on this near side the right for Everton, because I'm sure constant instruction from Sean Dyche. Murillo plays it behind Williams, who will just about keep this in play on that far side the right for Forest in their red shirts, kicking from right to left. It's gone a little bit quiet at Goodison Park. From a Forest perspective, they would love an equaliser before half-time, and they've had chances to get that equaliser, in particular that latest one from Wood. He's on the ball now. Nottingham Forest top scorer, Gibbs White, the dangerous Gibbs White, left-hand side of the box. Now Hudson-Odoi running down a bit of a cul-de-sac. Gibbs White has space to deliver across with his right foot. It's in towards Wood, but headed away by Branthwaite, picked up by Aina. 25 yards out, left-hand side of the penalty area. Hudson-Odoi scooped ball in towards Dominguez that had just a little too much flight and pace, and Pickford can collect. 1-0 Everton.
Yeah, he's read it well, Jordan Pickford. Just a ball over the top. Just getting the benefit of the replay again of that save by Jordan Pickford from Chris Wood. It's point blank. It's almost a block and a save combined. He does so well. It's his footwork from the initial shot where he gets across the goal, gets himself in front of Chris Wood, and he's no more than 3 or 4 yards away from Chris Wood, and he makes a fantastic save, Jordan Pickford. It really is impressive.
Calvert-Lewin's flick near Kate's clearance, loose touch by Mikalenko. Gibbs White can profit on halfway. Now the marauding Williams, far side the right for Forest, has to slow the attack right down, however, because movement a little bit static in front of him. Dominguez surveying the scene, base of the centre circle, stationary, which has been a big problem for Forest. Ola Aina is waving his arms on this near side, the left. It's Niakate on halfway. Gibbs White with Branthwaite and McNeil very close to him. Williams ricochets its way to Gibbs White. That's a good ball to the back post. Hudson-Odoi plays it back. He wants handball. Referee looks at his assistant referee, who gives the corner rather than the penalty. VAR, of course, will be checking all of this in the background. For now, Forest have a corner, and we wait to see if that set piece is going to be upgraded. You'd be surprised.
It's a brilliant ball by Morgan Gibbs-White. Such great vision with the outside of his right foot. Just lifts it to the far post. Callum Hudson-Odoi takes it on the volley to put it back across the 6-yard box, and it does hit Ashley Young's arm. It does hit Ashley Young's hand just at the top of his wrist, but I think it's how close he was, the vicinity that Hudson-Odoi was when he hit Ashley Young. He didn't look like he could get out of the way of it.
The check was brief, and the check is complete, and Forest have this corner near side the left, swung in dangerously. There are bodies everywhere. Gibbs-White and I think Tarkowski. Play continues. Tarkowski still on the floor with a head injury, so the fans want referee to stop it. He isn't, and that's out of play for a corner to Forest, and you can hear the howls of derision from the Goodison Park faithful, because they felt the game should have been stopped to deal with that Tarkowski head injury.
Well, the referee should have stopped the game. It's quite simple. James Tarkowski's taken a whack to the head in the middle of the 6-yard box. He actually looks a little bit dazed now. You can hear the fans' reaction. The referee has to stop the game there. That is the law of the game. Head injuries, no doubt, you stop the game. James Tarkowski took a real whack right in the middle of the 6-yard box. Forest carried on playing. They lifted the ball into the box. Tarkowski on the deck was playing everybody on side, and if it wasn't for a really good header at the back post from Mikolenko, it could have been trouble for Everton. But the fact of the matter is, the referee has to stop the game. It's a head injury.
He did look, Anthony Taylor. He saw Tarkowski on the floor, but did allow play to continue. Jordan Pickford was furious with the referee, appealing in his face. 2 minutes of added on time at the end of this first half on 5 Live BBC Sounds. Everton lead by 1 goal to 0. Idrissa Gueye's goal the difference. But Forest have an opportunity from this set piece to equalise. There is a stoppage in play. The referee is coming over. I suspect
it's one of the
someone
Forest,
had
one of the Forest coaching staff. I mean,
there is a yellow card coming here.
There was a lot of to and fro beneath. There's obviously disagreement as to whether the game should have been stopped or not. And it's one of Nuno Espirito de Santo's coaching staff who's been summoned off the bench by referee and Anthony Taylor. He's actually having a word with him. He's not just booking him. It looks like he's giving him a stern warning as well as a booking.
Yeah. It's a yellow card for one of the Nottingham Forest coaching staff. Keith Stroud, the 4th official, I'm sure, reported that.
It almost feels like a little telltale, doesn't it? The 4th official.
It does, doesn't it?
Ref, can you come and sort him out for me, please?
Yeah, it does. So after all that, we have this corner that Danilo takes for Forest into the front post, headed away by Calvert-Lewin, but at the expense of another Forest corner.
Well, they need to see this out now, Everton. They're putting such a good performance in this first half. They need to get to half-time with the clean sheet intact.
Final 20 seconds of the half. I think we'll probably play another minute. Here's Danilo's corner, right underneath the crossbar. It's Calvert-Lewin for the second time who heads out, and for the second time in quick succession heads out for a Nottingham Forest corner. And the pressure just ratcheting up a few notches. Fans in the Gladys Street end watch on as Danilo has one hand in the air. In comes the corner, deeper and over the crossbar, too deep. You can hear the cheers of relief from the Everton supporters, and that is that for the first half. And Everton lead it by Nottingham Forest by a goal to 0. Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 0. The goal from Idrissa Gueye, well placed into the far corner, hit the post, went in, and on the balance of play, Paul Robinson, Everton deserve their advantage.
They do. They go into half-time on the back of a really good 45 minutes after that awful defeat away at Stamford Bridge 6-0. He's got a performance from his team of Sean Dyche in this first half. They should and could have gone on to further more goals, but with 1-0 scoreline, I'm sure Nuno will be going in there telling his team we can do better. I think we've seen the best of Everton, but I think Forest have got more to offer. I think we've got a really intriguing second half in store.
So in this big game at the bottom of the Premier League table, Everton and Nottingham Forest, it is Everton who hold a slender advantage. Idrissa Gueye's second goal of the season at half-time, Goodison Park. Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Paul and Chris, just stay there for a moment, because we've had 2 big goals, 2 quick goals in the Women's Super League. Nick Hatton watching Man City against West Ham.
We spoke about goal difference being important for Manchester City. 4 minutes gone here. It is Manchester City 2, West Ham 0. 25 seconds in, City took the lead through Layla Uhabi. Ball down the right-hand side from Jess Parker. Uhabi fired home from 6 yards out. Then just moments after that, on the left-hand side, Lauren Hemp, good run down the left. Ball in. Khadija Shaw took it on her chest before firing home. That is her 49th goal in the WSL. 4 minutes gone. It's Manchester City 2, West Ham 0.
So Paul Robertson, after all our chat about set pieces in the build-up to this one, the goal came from open play.
It did. It came from open play, but the importance of set pieces have been there. I mean, I think it's 3-3 on the corner count. The free kicks from Everton, they've looked to put them in the box. They've won free kicks. They've won corners in certain areas. You can see the game plan. But like I said, we make so much about the set plays and the directness of Everton at times. But they have played really well today. They've been a good watch. Sean Dyche will be delighted with his team, the way that they've set up. They've played through the lines. I think Idrissa Gueye coming into the side has certainly made a difference. But Forest, on the other hand, they don't really seem to have settled as yet. I think they've got much more to come. Gibbs White, when he gets the ball, when he gets through and he looks up, he's got Williams overlapping him on the right hand side. They do look good in flashes, Forest, but I don't think they've turned up yet, Nottingham Forest. I think the manager will be in there at half time asking for more from his players.
Well, as things stand, Everton sitting 5 points above the drop. If the scoreline stays the same, Chris Cole said, was it more joy or relief when that goal went in? We've got the second half to come, so we will see. Thank you both for now. So Everton with that slender lead at Goodison Park against Nottingham Forest in our first Premier League game of the day. So much more to come. We are live here at Wembley. We are building up to the second FA Cup semi-final between Coventry City and Manchester United. But first, we will break for the latest news here on 5 Live with Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Katie, thank you. Good afternoon. Downing Street says Rishi Sunak was appalled by the way police treated a Jewish man during a pro-Palestinian demonstration in London last weekend. Gideon Falter was told by an officer that he might prompt a reaction from protesters because he was openly Jewish. The force has apologised. Mr Falter's demanding the Met Commissioner resign. Russia says the £50 billion package of military assistance for Ukraine approved by US politicians last night shows that Washington is wading deeper into a war that it says will end in humiliation like those in Vietnam or Afghanistan. The aid also includes billions for Israel, which Hamas has said gives the green light for brutal aggression in Gaza. Thousands of people have been attending a candlelit vigil in Sydney to remember the 6 people who died after being stabbed at a shopping centre there last weekend. 12 others were wounded, including a 9-month-old girl. And a statue, which is believed to be England's first permanent memorial to the late Queen Elizabeth, has been unveiled this afternoon on what would have been her 98th birthday. Rutland County Council says the 7-foot statue outside Oakham Library has been mostly funded through donations.
BBC 5 Live.
The Checkered Flag Podcast, keeping you up to date with everything Formula One.
Around the final corner for Max Verstappen, who crosses the line. The checkered flag awaits him. Verstappen wins the Chinese Grand Prix.
Well done, Max. Great day's work.
All weekend, I think we were incredibly quick. To achieve basically what we did this weekend is fantastic.
Max Verstappen wins the Chinese Grand Prix. Lando Norris splits the Red Bulls to finish second with Sergio Perez third.
The Checkered Flag Podcast.
Listen now on BBC Sounds. This is 5 Live Sport.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Yes, welcome back to 5 Live Sport with me, Katie Smith, and we are live this afternoon from Wembley Stadium ahead of a massive afternoon for Coventry City fans as the Championship side prepares to take on Manchester United in the second FA Cup semi-final, and then a chance to perhaps take on Manchester City in next month's final. There are lots of fans inside the stadium now. Kick-off at 3:30, so just over an hour to go. Over to my right-hand side, loads of sky blue flags have been left out on the seats and plenty of them being waved already. What a day it is for the Championship side, and we'll be with our commentary team in just a moment to build up to that. Before that gets underway though, we'll bring you second half commentary of Everton against Nottingham Forest in the battle at the bottom of the Premier League, the home side leading 1-0 at Goodison Park, and there's also a crucial match being played in the Championship. We're into the last stages at Ewood Park, but Adam Cottier could be a massive 3 points for Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, they have a 3-1 lead here, but this game has been punctuated by quite a few injuries with bumps and bruises, so we move into 11 minutes of added time. This game will be remembered for two extraordinary goals. Josh Windass scored with a 35-yard lob in the first half, and then in this second, Ash Ainsley Pears, the Blackburn Rovers goalkeeper, has made a calamitous error, miscontrolling a back pass, scrambling to get it off the line, and he only managed to slice it into his own goal. Marvin Johnson scored in between that, and Wednesday at the moment climbing out of the bottom three, and Birmingham will be dropping into it. It's Blackburn Rovers 1, Sheffield Wednesday 3.
In the Women's Super League, Maya Le Tissier rescued a point for Manchester United in injury time. They drew 2-2 with Tottenham. Those two sides meeting again not too long in the FA Cup final next month. Well into the first half in the WSL match between Arsenal and Leicester. The home side sitting comfortably in third in the table. The away side officially safe from relegation. Becky Ives at the Emirates for us.
Currently goalless with 24 minutes played as Leicester look for their first ever points against Arsenal in the WSL. They're not doing too bad. Joka Momicki, she just forced a save from Manuel Zinsberger in the Arsenal goal from 25 yards out. And defensively, they have really frustrated Arsenal's attacking threat. Closest Arsenal have come, half chance from Beth Mead, but she chipped it high over the bar. 24 minutes played, Arsenal 0, Leicester 0.
Early stages as well between Manchester City and West Ham. 10 minutes played. City already 2-0 up thanks to 2 goals in 3 minutes. So currently going back to the top of the table in the Championship. It's Lewes 0, Crystal Palace 0. Palace can be promoted if they win, if Sunderland draw with Charlton as well. Currently Sunderland 0, Charlton 0. Earlier Reading beat Durham 1-0. So that means Lewes will be relegated if they lose against Palace. Now not long to go until kick-off in the 2-3 o'clock games in the Premier League. Bournemouth are at Aston Villa this afternoon, and Charlie Slater is watching this one.
Well, one of the big questions is how tired will Villa be? After Pep's point yesterday about playing 3 days after a European tie that went to penalties, Villa will do the exact same today. Winners in France on Thursday night, home to Bournemouth this afternoon, looking to strengthen their grip on the fourth and now very, very likely final Champions League place. They are without the suspended Douglas Luiz and injured Nicola Zaniolo. They're the two changes as Morgan Rogers and Leon Bailey come in. Just one for Bournemouth, Lloyd Kelly in for the injured Luis Sinisterra. No Premier League side has won more points than Bournemouth since the start of March. Just one defeat in 7. They need only 5 points from their last 6 matches to set a new club record for a single Premier League season.
Let's travel to Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace are looking to build on their win at Liverpool last weekend. West Ham are the visitors, and Paul Scott at this one.
Yes, that win at Anfield has all but secured Crystal Palace's Premier League survival for another year. A wonderful rearguard action 7 days ago, a slick goal for good measure. Oliver Glasner's impact beginning to be felt in this corner of South East London as the Eagles look for back-to-back league wins for the first time this season. One change for them, Chris Richards comes into defence to replace the injured Jefferson Lerma. West Ham ran themselves into the ground in midweek, but to no avail as they were knocked out of the Europa League by Bayer Leverkusen. But qualifying for Europe for a 4th straight season is still their target this year. They make 3 changes with Ogbonna and Emerson coming into defence. Lucas Paquetá replaces Jared Bowen, who's not named in the matchday squad.
And it's not just FA Cup semi-finals going on today. The second of the Scottish Cup semis also kicks off at 3 o'clock. Rangers face Hearts, the winner of which will play Celtic in the final on Saturday, the 25th of May. Ailey Barber there watching for us. Ailey, you were treated to a thriller yesterday, so more of the same, I'm guessing?
Yeah, an absolute thriller yesterday in the sunshine. Not quite the same weather. We'll see if we get the same sort of game. And Rangers come into this semi-final on the back of 3 games without a win. From buoyant title favourites to players saying the belief is gone. Possibly a good thing then to have a break from the pressures of the league. And Philip Clement has again rung the changes as he hopes to get a reaction. Stalwart Connor Goldson and big January signing Fabio Silva amongst 4 who dropped to the bench. And it was Hearts that Rangers swept aside here at Hampden in the League Cup semi-final this season. Stephen Naismith hoping he can turn the tide and heap more misery on his former club and take Hearts to a 4th Scottish Cup final in 6 years. And like you said, Celtic lie in wait for the winner.
Ailey, thank you. We've had a goal at the Emirates in the Women's Super League. Becky Ives.
It has. It's gone to Arsenal. They've had to be patient, but it was well worked around the box. The ball was pulled wide to Caitlin Ford, who then put it into the box where Beth Mead just guided it into the near post. Arsenal 1, Leicester 0.
And let's check back in at the Crucible as well. Day 2 of the World Snooker Championship. Jamie Broughton there.
And the big story here is that Mark Selby, the four-time world champion, is in real trouble against the Crucible debutant Joe O'Connor. O'Connor made 2 centuries plus breaks of 74, 67 and 61 in the opening session of their first round match, and he leads Selby by 7 frames to 2, so O'Connor needs just 3 more frames to record a massive upset when they return tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Welsh qualifier Jack Jones is through to the second round. He beat Zhang Anda 10-4, and another former champion, Judd Trump, is about to resume 6-3 up against Hossein Vafayi.
Jamie, thank you very much. So our base this afternoon is here at Wembley Stadium. I've moved from pitch side up into our commentary box because it is just an hour now until kick-off, and a huge afternoon for Coventry City taking on Manchester United for a place in the FA Cup final. And our commentary team today, we've got John Murray, we've got former Coventry striker Clinton Morrison with us as well. Afternoon, gentlemen. And I think, we're moments away from being able to bring the team news, but Clinton, the atmosphere here, there are so many Coventry fans already in this stadium, one side completely painted sky blue.
Yeah, it's building up. As I was walking in, I could see a lot of the fans, and speaking to a lot of the fans, they kept asking me, what do I think? And it's going to be a good game. Huh? You never know. With Man United have a few injuries and defensive injuries, so Coventry give themselves a chance. But it's a great atmosphere, and it's going to be a great occasion for the Coventry City fans.
And our football correspondent alongside you, calling the action. And John, you can bring us the team news.
Yes, here it is, Katie. Coventry first. They are without Casey Palmer, who is suspended. So Callum O'Hare comes in for him, as expected. One other change for Coventry from their previous match when they lost 3-0 at Birmingham, and that is Josh Eccles coming into midfield with Victor Torp a substitute today. And as well, midfielder Jamie Allen is on the bench as he comes back from injury. So that is the Coventry news. As for Manchester United, we do now have confirmation of the absence of Mount, Amrabat and Cambuela, as we were discussing at the start of the programme. It looks as though they've been added to the lengthy Manchester United injury list. So it does look as though it'll be Casemiro who will be alongside Harry Maguire in central defence. Maguire has been able to train up for only part of the week. McTominay, who has had a knee injury, he comes into the midfield, and Anthony, who was also a doubt, is fit enough to be on the bench. But as we were discussing earlier, Katie, this means that on the substitutes bench for Manchester United today are a whole host of teenagers: Forson, Amas, Ogunai, Wheatley and Jackson. Very inexperienced bench, but the starting 11 in theory should be good enough.
We know their quality, don't we, Clinton? But I am just wondering, do you think Haji Wright, do you think Ellis Sims are slightly licking their lips there, saying, come on, give us a go?
I just was saying to John, and John both making a good point. Casemiro, he could either be man of the match or he could have a nightmare, because I'm saying if I'm Haji Wright or Sims, Casemiro's been a fantastic player. I just think his legs are going a lot, and if he can play, it depends how Man United play. If they play a high line, Coventry can cause them a lot of problems, but they'll be sensible. But he's experienced, Casemiro, so I expect him to go in there and do a good job. But if I'm a centre forward, a Coventry centre forward, I'm playing on Casemiro.
A few minutes ago, we saw the Coventry team were down in the middle of the pitch, having a look around. They arrived, they're taking in the scene, and I saw Ellis Sims just, having a glance around, looking at the atmosphere. He wasn't part of the playoff side that lost to Luton last year, so talk us through, Clinton, that emotion when you walk onto a stage like this.
Yeah, it's special because, listen, it's what you dream about. Obviously, the FA Cup still it is the best cup you're thinking about when you're growing up. You're always thinking, can we get to a semi-final? Can we go and win an FA Cup? So this is what dreams are made of, and a lot of these players probably have never played at Wembley. So it's a big occasion, in particular for Ellis Sims. He started the season a bit slow, but recently he's been outstanding. Him and Haji Wright have caused a lot of problems. So he'll be licking his lips and thinking, if I can get an opportunity this afternoon, can I take it? That's what you do as a centre forward. You go onto the pitch and you picture the scenario. Even when you're sleeping the night before, you're thinking, if it comes to me, how am I going to finish? And that's probably how he's thinking when he went onto the pitch this afternoon.
Katie, since we last spoke, I've spoken to a lot of people who are following Coventry here, and it's absolutely lovely this. Being here today, particularly after the furore that we've had over the course of the recent days, with the suggestions that really the FA Cup is being devalued. Being here today and mixing with these people is a reminder of what it is that made it the great competition.
Absolutely. Well, we are less than an hour from kick-off. It'll be Clinton Morrison and John Murray guiding you through that one from 3:30. Just a few other sporting stories to bring you this afternoon. Olympic champion Perez Jepchirchir stormed to victory in the London Marathon earlier in a women's-only world record time of 2 hours, 16 minutes and 16 seconds. We have been keeping our eye on Sir Jim Ratcliffe as well. He's running it ahead of trying to get to Wembley for the second half to watch Manchester United. Apparently closing in on the finish now. He was looking for a finish time of just after 2:30, so kind of on track for that. Round 3 of the Chevron Championship has resumed after lightning storms over Texas suspended play yesterday. American Nelly Korda going for a record 5th straight tournament victory and is the joint leader at 10 under par. Coverage of the final round, don't forget, is on 5 Sports Extra from 8:30 p.m. this evening. Right, huge games in the Premier League today, not least down at the bottom of the table. It is Everton against Nottingham Forest. Let's hand you back to our commentary team of former England goalkeeper Paul Robinson and Chris Coles.
Thank you, Katie. Your timing is exemplary. We are just about to get back underway in this crucial game at the bottom end of the Premier League. Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 0. The sun continues to shine brightly down, and it was a very bright first half for Everton. Anthony Taylor blows his whistle and we are back underway. Everton in their traditional home kit, the blue shirts, white shorts, white socks, defending now the goal away to our right-hand side. They kick from right to left, attacking the Gladys Street end. Forest all in red from head to toe. They will need to be much better in this second half if they harbour any ambitions of getting back into this game. Calvert-Lewin building the first attack of the second half for Everton. That's just behind Andre Gomez. And Forest can move it forward with Dominguez, who just overruns it. And that's out of play for an Everton throw just inside their own half. I'll run you through the two sides in just a moment. No changes at the break. Idrissa Gueye's goal, the difference. Strike from the edge of the penalty area. Not one of his cleanest strikes. Hit the post and in it went. Nottingham Forest, who have only come from behind to get points once this season to win a game, and that was at Newcastle on Boxing Day away from home, so they do have it in them. But Paul Robinson, former England international, they need to be a lot better.
They do, absolutely. I thought they were poor in the first half, Forest, but I've seen them a few times this season, and I've seen them play a lot better. I thought they allowed Everton possession, they allowed Everton to play in certain areas, and I think that Nuno will want more from his team in this second half. I think Everton played to their maximum capacity, in all honesty, in the first half. It's the best that I've seen them for a long time. I thought the way that they played through the lines in the final third, the chances that they created, they look dangerous. But the longer this game goes on, at only 1-0 for Everton, it will become edgy, it will become nervous. And how many times have we seen that this season here at Goodison?
Very often, and the Everton fans know it too well. Hudson-Odoi, left-hand side of the penalty area for Forest, running at Young. He's into the penalty area. Young backtracking. He's got Harrison to help him. Back out to Aina, and Hudson-Odoi again. Left-hand edge of the penalty area. Forest all in red, going from left to right. Tarkowski's header should be Pickford's, and it is. Just about keeps that in play, preventing the Nottingham Forest corner. Pickford, who made that brilliant save from Chris Wood in the first half. 2 minutes into the second half, Everton 1, Forest 0. Full time in that big game at the bottom end of the Championship. Blackburn, Sheffield Wednesday. Adam Cottier.
Sheffield Wednesday have won here by 3-1. They are out of the Championship's bottom 3 with the stakes so high. They produced a performance of courage. Josh Windass lobbed them ahead from 35 yards in the first half. Marvin Johnson scored a second after half time, and then a calamitous own goal gave them a 3-1 lead. Sam Smodics had equalised for Blackburn, but they remain in trouble. Wednesday are replaced by Birmingham in that relegation zone. Rovers 1, Wednesday 3.
Adam, thank you. Gibbs White for Forest. It's been a lively start to this second half from both. Forest are throwing a few more bodies forward. They're going from left to right, and Williams has it on this near side, their left. Dominguez, Williams, ball to Gibbs White, the intricate flick that didn't quite work out. Mikalenko passes responsibility back to Pickford, whose clearances have not been A1 this afternoon, but it comes off the back of Rayner's head and drops out of play for an Everton throw just inside their own half. They lead this game by 1-0.
Made one fantastic save this afternoon, Jordan Pickford, but he's down on his haunches now, just regrouping himself a little bit, because I think his distribution has been poor. You make a good point. He's slipped over a couple of times when he's tried to distribute with his right foot, and it hasn't been on point. From when he's hitting still balls, he's been okay, but when the ball's come back to him, or he's tried to kick a moving ball, whether it's those bright orange boots that he's wearing that's putting him off, I don't know, but he's not been up to his usual standard today.
Wrestling are Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Moussa Niakate. Referee quite happy for play to continue. Continue it does with Gibbs White, challenged forcefully by Branthwaite in the centre of the Everton half. The fans really enjoyed that, and Gibbs White is fine. One of those challenges where you thought the recipient might be a little bit slow in getting back up, but he was okay, and play does continue. Young feeds it down the inside right channel for Everton. Calvert-Lewin beaten to it by Murillo, and Niakate with his wrists heavily bandaged, 2 white bandages on his wrists. Touch from Wood, loose touch from Rayner, and he jumps up in frustration, frustrated at the poor touch. Had he got that right, there was an opportunity maybe for Forest to attack on their right hand side. As it is, Everton can build from the back. Calvert-Lewin does well to keep that in play, but because he was off balance, it was very difficult then to direct the ball to Decore, and Nottingham Forest have a throw in their left back position. Quickly the two teams: Pickford in goal for Everton, Young, Tarkowski, Branthwaite, Mikolenko, Harrison, Gomez, Gay and McNeil, Decore and Calvert-Lewin. And for Forest, who are about to make a change, Anthony Elanga is going to be a very early second half sub, as Callum Hudson-Odoi races into the Everton penalty area. He's forced a little wide. There are options arriving. Branthwaite with a crucial header. Gomez battling with Williams. Still there for Forest. Rayner, all very tight and congested. Williams on the right-hand side of the penalty area. Can he find a cross? He can. But that is simple for Jordan Pickford. And that was an opportunity, Paul, for Forest. Out of nowhere, Hudson-Odoi racing into the box.
Turnover of possession, and Hudson-Odoi just shows his pace down that left-hand side, gets in behind Ashley Young, running into the 18-yard box on an angle, but Mikolenko does really well, comes over from this left-back position, gets himself in between the ball and the man, and thwarts the threat.
Forest will need more of that in this second half. Sells is their goalkeeper. Williams, Niakate, Murillo and Aina, Dominguez and Danilo, Rayner, Gibbs White, Hudson-Odoi, Wood, and we wait to see who Anthony Elanga is going to replace. There's been another goal in the WSL at Manchester City. We'll be there shortly once this Everton attack fades, and that is now out for a throw to Forest rather than Everton. So come in, Nick Hatton, at Manchester City.
It is Manchester City 3, West Ham United 0. Buddy Shaw with the second of the game from a second assist from Lauren Hemp. Lovely cross from the left hand side. It was a header from Buddy Shaw. It means she has 50 WSL goals to her name. She's the second quickest player to get there. 57 appearances behind only Viviana Miedema. It's Manchester City 3, West Ham 0.
Thank you, Nick. Here comes Anthony Elanga. He won't be on just yet. Still getting some instructions from Rui Pedro Silva, by the way, who was the coach booked in that first half for remonstrating a little too aggressively to Keith Stroud, the fourth official. Forest are making slow progress with a series of throws on this near side the right, just in front of us. Williams to the green-booted Gibbs White. Good strength to hold off Mikolenko. This is very close to the corner flag on this near side the right. Williams and Gibbs White and Mikolenko and Harrison, they're all there, all very close by, and the end result is a throw to Everton by the corner flag, and Mikolenko will take it. Elanga 4. Paul Robinson, if you could guess.
I think it'd be Hudson-Odoi. I think he's been pretty ineffective in the first half, and Ashley Young and Jack Harrison have done a really good job on him. I'm only guessing. We're yet to see the fourth officials board go up, but we're about to.
Could be Gio Reyna, whose game is up, and
it is. You're right. You win.
Well, I saw the number 30
well, that's
seconds
not
ago.
Unfair, is it? So you're playing a game you already know the answer to.
That's why I started it. So Gio Reyna is off and Anthony Elanga is on. I thought you saw the number 2. That's why I was giving you an open goal.
No, I was too busy trying to turn the monitor on in front of me that's gone off.
Yes, it's been intermittent, that monitor. Here's Decore over halfway. Calvert-Lewin couldn't quite get on the end of that. Niakate and Murillo just about sort themselves out. They were very close together. Young now strides over halfway. The noise level increases at Goodison Park. On the edge of the penalty area is Harrison, darting this way and that, and he'll win his side a corner. Aina prods it out, and Everton have this first set piece of the second half, 1-0.
He's a threat down that right hand side, is Jack Harrison, and he knows what his manager wants and he knows what his team wants. We've got another set play over that far right hand side. It's Dwight McNeil slowly walking over, and he'll swing it in with his left foot.
Anthony Elanga, who missed last week's game against Wolves for Nottingham Forest, he has a very good partnership with Chris Wood. They've combined for 6 goals this season. And he is on to try and make a difference for Forest, who trail this game by a 1-0. Deep corner, very deep. Tarkowski heads it back into the danger zone. Calvert-Lewin volleys it wide from a very presentable position. Front post area, back header, and Calvert-Lewin, in a similar position to Chris Wood in that first half, puts it wide.
He should score, Chris, he really should. It's a well-worked corner. Dwight McNeil lifts it to the far post. Tarkowski wins a header. Calvert-Lewin finds himself free on the angle of the 6-yard box. He just hits it on the half volley, lashes it wide of the near post. He should at least hit the target.
Calvert-Lewin, who missed the game against Chelsea, got 2 in 2 prior to that. The winner here, the last time Everton played at Goodison Park against Burnley, ended his 23-game goal drought with a penalty at Newcastle that he just about squeezed past Martin Dubravka. Branthwaite with some good defending for Everton. Niakate's volley on the halfway line. Gibbs-White controls it to the path of Murillo, who plays a brilliant ball to the back post. Down goes Hudson-Odoi under the challenge of Young. And the referee, Anthony Taylor, who was well positioned, had a good look at it and waves play on. VAR will be checking, as always, in the background. Play continues with the aforementioned Young back into his own half. The goal scorer, Gay, and now Gomez. It's a couple of penalty shouts that Forest have had. The handball against Young in the first half, the Reina challenge also in the first half, and now that one.
I think that was more favourable for Forest. I think that looked more like a penalty than any of them. It's a fantastic ball in behind the back of Ashley. He just got caught the wrong side of Hudson-Odoi, but you've got to give Young credit. He got himself back in a position where he was able to make the challenge, and the referee and the VAR officials have obviously seen that it was a decent challenge.
Branthwaite caught on halfway. Referee plays the advantage that Gomez wastes.
But they don't want the advantage, Everton. They want the free kick. That's the thing. Sean Dyche and Jordan Pickford in front of us, they're leaping up and down in frustration because there's no advantage to giving Everton possession in midfield. They want a free kick in a dangerous area that they can put in the box.
And Branthwaite is still on the ground here, and Everton are short of a centre half. Here comes Elanga, right foot ball in that Mikalenko blocks almost at source, just on the left of the penalty area. Forest will continue despite the protests from the Everton fans. Branthwaite is still on the floor. Now the game stops. Anthony Taylor, who didn't stop the game in the first half for a head injury, does stop it here for what looks like a leg injury for Jared Branthwaite.
And that's not the stipulation, is it?
No.
You stop the game for a head injury, but it's not up to the referee to stop the game for a foul. I mean, it's an innocuous challenge, and he just does catch Branthwaite on his left ankle. And we thought that Branthwaite wouldn't have made the game today. He has done. He's made a difference for Everton. But it was just a 50-50 challenge. I think he caught him on his ankle or the top of his foot.
Yeah.
But the referee allowed play to go on, and Nottingham Forest were deep into the Everton half. And Sean Dyche was going absolutely ballistic with his centre-half, his left-back, Mikalenko, because he knows the referee can't stop the game. Mikalenko chose to clear the ball downfield instead of just clearing the ball out of field and allowing Branthwaite to get some treatment. But we've got a break in play now anyway.
We do. Branthwaite receiving treatment to his left ankle. He was a doubt for this game after the hammering at Chelsea, but Sean Dyche did say yesterday in his press conference, or Friday in his press conference, that he would be probably okay, and it gives us a chance, or the players a chance, to come to this near side and get some drinks on board. 57 minutes played, 5 Live, BBC Sounds, Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Let's dip back into the WSL. It's half-time between Arsenal and Leicester. Becky Ives.
And it's Arsenal 1, Leicester 0. Beth Mead the difference on half an hour. Calmly slot home from a tight angle to put Arsenal ahead. They've been frustrated in this first half. The Leicester defence had been holding well. Yuki Momiki for Leicester had a shot 25 yards out that was saved. That's the closest they've come. Arsenal just tightened their grip as the half went on. Arsenal 1, Leicester 0.
Thank you, Becky. Still Manchester City 3, West Ham 0.
Chris, I've just seen a replay of that Ashley Young challenge again on Hudson-Odoi. It doesn't half look like a penalty. It really is. He's got him the wrong side. It does look like he's caught him. And we're getting a close-up of Nuno Espirito de Santo. And they've just shown a replay of all 3 challenges that Forest think that they should have got a penalty for. And the handball by Ashley Young in the first half. Forest are unlucky not to have had a penalty at some point today.
We've also seen a grumpy-looking Mark Clattenburg, who, of course, is very much part of the Forest setup nowadays. Here go Forest with Gibbs-White into the penalty area. Back out to Aina, left-hand angle. This is a good little spell for Nottingham Forest. They trail 1-0, 58 minutes played. Ball on the edge of the penalty area. And they're going backwards somewhat of Forest at the moment. But that's down in part, really, to the way Everton are pressing. And, in fact, Forest have to go all the way back to goalkeeper Matt Sells.
Yeah, I wonder how Mark Clattenburg's training sessions are going. Does he think he's enjoying refereeing the five-a-sides at Nottingham Forest? I still don't understand his role.
I don't think anyone does.
Maybe he's just there on Fridays for the five-a-sides to referee them.
Yeah, keeps him busy.
But he's trying to explain referees' rules to players who know referees' rules and be the go-between.
Gibbs White with a lovely give and go. He gets to the byline. Does he keep it in play? Yes, but to no great effect because there were several blue-shirted players ready for that rather than red, so Branthwaite can rather perilously wander out of defence, then plays a good-looking ball to Calvert-Lewin, and Niakate can play it square. This is Forest's best spell of the game, no question.
Exactly what I said in the first half about Everton needing a second goal.
And now Wood over the top, Gibbs White collects, and Gibbs White places wide from a good position inside the penalty area, and Everton are just a little bit rattled here. Ball over the top meant for Wood. The header fell to Gibbs White, his right foot shot 5 or 6 yards wide in the end.
Well, they're a little bit ragged, Everton, at the moment. They've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's down awaiting treatment inside the centre circle. They've got Gareth Branthwaite down on his haunches in the 6-yard box. The team was stretched then. Forest were coming into the game, had a good spell of possession. Morgan Gibbs-White finds himself in a really good position, almost one-on-one with Jordan Pickford, but the ball just wouldn't come down for him. Couldn't find the target, but you can just feel that Forest are coming more and more into this game. Like what I was saying, it's what I said in the first half. The longer this game goes at only 1-0, the deeper that Everton will drop, and they're starting to drop deeper and deeper, and Forest can just smell that there's something here for them.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin, his game is over here because Beto is ready to come on. Calvert-Lewin, who has had a season plagued by injury, knee and hamstring problems, feels like he just has been unable to get any rhythm in his game, and every time he comes back he suffers another setback. And Beto, the Portuguese striker, who has had a difficult time, I think it's safe to say, 5 goals this season, but at times he has struggled to get up to speed with the intensity of the Premier League. He's put his bib back on, so whether or not Calvert-Lewin is going to be afforded a few moments to run this off, I'm not so sure. And you can hear the Forest fans now. Mull of Kintyre drifting over Goodison Park, still bathed in sunshine. The Forest fans, as Paul mentioned in that first half, hit by the news that their season card prices, their season ticket prices, in some cases are being hiked up massively, and there were some very unhappy fans and supporters groups getting involved. Timing felt, Paul, a bit off really, given the season that Nottingham Forest have had, to announce that sort of thing when Forest need their fans more than ever.
And they played such a big part in keeping them in the Premier League this last season. But as you said, at the risk of going off onto a tangent, it always seems with the fans that get hit. We see it all across the Premier League. The fans are getting hit with percentage season ticket prices at all different clubs. But Forest was such a big, and is such a big hike from what they've been used to when the fans have played such a big part.
Forest moving forward threateningly again. It's Danilo in a central position. Williams joins in on the right-hand side. Low ball in, just behind Chris Wood. Everton clear. Gomez to Harrison. Suddenly the game is a little bit ding-dong, a little bit stretched. Calvert-Lewin is going to come back on here. He's just waiting for the go-ahead from Anthony Taylor to wave him on. Gomez with good strength. Away from Dominguez. Decore rather loosely back to Tarkowski, who had his path back to Pickford blocked. So he uses Harrison instead on that far side. A couple of yards in from the touchline. Good challenge by Aina on Harrison. The game suddenly feels very, very different. Everton still lead by 1-0 on 5 Live, but Forest are now on top. Niakate, centre circle, every single outfield player inside the Everton half. Can Forest build some concerted pressure, something they've not been able to do so far in this game? Hudson-Odoi hugging the touchline left-hand side. Clever ball to Danilo. Inside the box, just a little too pacey. And that's out of play for an Everton goal kick.
Yeah, there's a real power shift in this game now, isn't it? The Goodison faithful trying to get behind Everton. Jordan Pickford barking instructions at his defenders. Idrissa Gueye talking to the referee, just trying to slow it down a bit, trying to break the game up a bit, because they do get the feeling that Forest are just getting on top of this game, trying to get themselves back into it, and they've still got plenty of time to do that.
63 minutes played, still plenty of time in this massive game at the bottom end of the Premier League. If it stays this way, Everton would move 5 points clear of the relegation zone, having played a game fewer than both Forest and Luton. And it's a defining week, isn't it, for Everton, with Liverpool, the Merseyside derby here in the week, and then a home game against Brentford. 3 colossal home games. They are winning this one at the moment, but it's not particularly comfortable. Ball on halfway, nodded forward, prodded forward by Dominguez. Mikalenko wanted to go back to Pickford, but turns nicely away from Ilanga, and then plays the ball for Calvert-Lewin to chase. McNeil was there as well. Calvert-Lewin nips in front of Niakate and then got the double kiss. This won't go out of play though. It hits the corner flag. Ball stationary in the quadrant. Niakate very coolly and calmly out of that particular predicament. That looked very dodgy for a moment for Forest, but they move it out nicely. The new man Ilanga, square to Dominguez, forward to Danilo rather, and now Wood on halfway, and suddenly Forest are bearing down on the Everton penalty area. Hudson-Odoi on the left-hand side, his right-footed ball in, looking for Ilanga, headed away. Dominguez centrally positioned, the right foot floated ball out to this near side, the right. Gibbs White is offside.
Chris, look at the gap now, look where Everton's team are. The whole of Everton's team are almost in their own 18-yard box, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin is in the centre circle, and that's becoming a real feature in this game now. As soon as Everton lose possession, they go on the defensive, they defend their weaknesses, they're dropping deeper and deeper. There was an instant there where every single Everton player was within almost the 18-yard box with Jordan Pickford, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin was on the halfway line himself. That's something they've got to avoid in this second half. They've got to push up the pitch. They can't allow themselves to get so deep.
And Everton are about to make another change. Sean Dyche and Ian Wone down there calling back potentially James Garner, the former Forest man, to come on to play the final 25 minutes of this game. Floodlights suddenly burst into life. It's got very cloudy and dull over Goodison Park. Maybe that is an omen for Everton. They were making hay in the sunshine, but they're under pressure under the cloud now. Mikalenko forward, Williams on halfway. There's suddenly plenty of space for Danilo to operate, and his left-footed ball out for Hudson-Odoi to chase with Ashley Young. That's a foul by Hudson-Odoi, and that's a rather needless foul to give away. That classic example of Young with nowhere to go. He had to do something. He waited for the contact, and Ashley Young, who wasn't born yesterday, I think it's fair to say, 38 years young these days, knew exactly what was coming, got the free kick, and Everton have this free kick.
Yeah, we're entering a stage of the game now where Sean Dyche wanted to go. He wanted to go into the last 20-25 minutes only having that one goal cushion, but to Forest's credit, with Nuno and his team, made a couple of tactical changes at half-time. They've been a lot better pressing from the front, and they've got themselves to this stage of the game looking very dangerous.
Couple of Everton changes. Beto now does come on for the stricken Calvert-Lewin, and James Garner is on to replace Andre Gomez in the centre of the Everton midfield. James Garner, who had 2 good seasons at Nottingham Forest on loan from Manchester United, was part of the very successful promotion-winning team from the Championship. 69 appearances for Forest across those 2 loan spells. This is the 50th Premier League appearance of his career, and he is on to, I presume, Paul, to plug a gap in that vacant Everton midfield.
Yeah, I can't see them tactically changing much. Everton, you pretty much know what you're going to get from a Sean Dyche side, a 4-4-1-1, and it's a straight swap. Garner comes on for Gomez and Beto on for Calvert-Lewin. He just freshens it up, makes a couple of changes, and with Garner losing his place in the side today, the manager will be looking for a reaction.
Midway through the second half, the other 2 Premier League games, or the 2 that kick off at 3, are just about to get underway. Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, West Ham, both available for you online via the BBC Sport website and app. Regular updates here on 5 Live, and we are half an hour away from the second semi-final in the FA Cup at Wembley. Coventry playing in their first semi-final since they won it back in 1987 against Manchester United. Winners to play Manchester City after Bernardo Silva's late goal at Wembley. Scottish Cup semi-final not too far away either at Hampden. Rangers against Hearts, winners to play Celtic. Midway point of the second half. Son pokes back out. Everton lead Forest by a 1-0 in this crucial game at the bottom of the Premier League. Niakate plays it back to Matt Sells. The appeals from the Everton fans, they felt it came off Niakate's hands, but the appeals were solely from the Everton fans and not from the players. And building from the back slowly, a Nottingham Forest again. It's a silly thing to say, Paul, but the next goal not only feels vital for this game, it feels vital for the season. If Everton can get it and hold on, as opposed to Forest, who could get back into a game and get something from this match with difficult games to come at home against the likes of Manchester City and Chelsea, it feels that the dynamic for the rest of the season could be pivotal for the next 20 minutes.
Well, without trying to predict, it's going to be a long 22 minutes if it continues like this for Everton. Forest really in the ascendancy. Everton very rarely getting forward, not really keeping hold of possession. Forest growing more and more into this game, and it's looking quite ominous that Forest will get themselves back into this game if Everton don't get higher up the pitch.
Yeah, it does have the feel of a game where a Forest chance is coming. Another one. They had a really decent opportunity a couple of moments ago with Gibbs White, and Everton are loose in possession again. It's Williams in field to Elanga. Good first touch. Wood just couldn't quite gather it. Another decent opening for Forest inside the Everton penalty area, and Chris Wood, had he got his first touch right, was surely shooting at goal. Beto with some excellent hold-up play, and now Garner for the first time in this match sweeps it out to the far side, the right. The Everton fans right behind their side once again. It's Harrison running at Aina, level with the edge of the penalty area. Back to McNeil, who just slows it down. Young to Harrison, level with the edge of the penalty area. A step over, trying to beat Ola Aina, who stands him up nicely. Everton has a feel of a move that is on the verge of breaking down through lack of ambition and ideas, but that's a lovely run. Young, the overlap, dink to the back post. Sells is there to claim. I think the ball had gone out of play anyway. It had, and Forest have this goal kick. Everton 1, Forest 0, 20 minutes to play.
Decent build-up by Everton, but again it's slowed down. Nobody seems to want to be that one that loses possession, makes that final ball, the cutting pass through this Nottingham Forest defence. Jack Harrison and Ashley Young worked it well down the right-hand side, just didn't manage to materialise across from the move though.
Forest building slowly from the back once again. They have enjoyed the majority of this second half, but still trailed by 1 goal to nil. Just 1 win in their last 8 Premier League matches. 10 Premier League away points this season. Only Sheffield United have fewer. They are not good travellers, Nuno's side. McNeil infield. Beto with the loud orange boots away from Niakate. Lovely spin from Beto. Edge of the penalty area. He's forced wide. With every passing second, the angle diminished. Ball on the edge of the penalty area now for Harrison on the right-hand side. He sits Aina down onto his left foot. Swings it in. McNeil can't get there. Some excellent defending by Nico Williams. It's Garner on the edge of the penalty area. He floats it to the back post. Too much on that. Drops out of play for a Forest goal kick. And all of a sudden Everton now are providing their own threats in this second half.
Really good from Nico Williams. Last ditch defending, just throws himself in front of the Everton attacker at the far post. Dwight McNeil just can't get his shot off. Jack Harrison again down that right hand side, but it's all from Beto. I mean, Beto's only been on the pitch 5 minutes, but in those 5 minutes he's had some really good centre forward play, hold up play, held the ball for his team, chased down lost causes. He's done more in 5 minutes than Calvert-Lewin did in 70 minutes.
He's started the game exactly as Sean Dyche would have wanted, the young Portuguese forward, wearing the blue base layer to go with his blue Everton top. Everton kicking from right to left in this second half, but they are firmly camped inside their own half. Dominguez for Forest, swept out to Williams, whose touch was poor, and it allowed the Ukrainian left-back Mikolenko to nip in, and Pickford will clear, all in green with the orange gloves and the orange boot. Beto comes to meet this, beaten in the air. Elanga now has it for Forest, drifting in field from his right wing position. Now he's centrally placed, right-footed pass to Aina, smoothly worked out to Hudson-Odoi, running at Young. That's a Battle Hill fancy. Hudson-Odoi's cross. Williams is interested, headed away by McNeil. The 2 number 7s going head-to-head there. Aina, that's a foul, but referee might play advantage here and does. Decore not exactly in a rush to take advantage of that decision by Anthony Taylor, and in the end the pass is wayward, the touch is loose, and I think Everton probably would have wanted the free kick there to take the sting out of the Forest attack.
Well, Dwight McNeil was in. Decore made the wrong decision. He chose to keep possession, run in field, and Dwight McNeil was in on the right hand side. They had a 3-on-3 Everton, but just lacked a little bit of ambition. Decore chose to turn inside, retain possession rather than play McNeil in, and when he did turn to play McNeil in, it was a bad ball and it went out of play.
Forest continue to build steadily in midfield. That's a poor pass from Gibbs White, which sets Murillo back a couple of yards. Nuno and Rui Pedro Silva, one of his assistants, deep in conversation. Nuno in the blue tracksuit. Sean Dyche also tracksuited, black from head to toe, and he is animated. He is kicking every ball as he always does. I think he realises that Forest are in the ascendancy here. Wants a little bit more from his team, and he gets it from the goal scorer. Gay with a good challenge in the centre of the Everton half. Decore now has plenty of time to assess his next option, which is a pass out to the right-hand side, and Harrison right-hand side of the penalty area now. A ball looking for Decore. Williams is clattered into by Decore, who apologises immediately, and that'll be a free kick to Forest in their own penalty area, and Decore is yellow carded.
Brave defending by Williams at the far post. Jack Harrison down the right hand side, he lifts the ball to the far post. Both players have got eyes for the ball only, but Decore is going for it with his right boot, whereas Williams has put his head in there where it really hurts. Neither can see each other. It's an accidental coming together, but he does catch him with his boot, and it's a booking for Decore.
Ryan Yates and Rodrigo Ribeiro are about to come on for Nottingham Forest. Some legs in midfield in the form of Ryan Yates and young Rodrigo Ribeiro, the 18-year-old Portuguese striker. He's on loan from Sporting Lisbon. Just 2 Premier League substitute appearances since joining on loan. He's about to enter the fray, as is Ryan Yates. Play, though, is continuing, with Everton leading this game by 1-0. BBC Radio 5 Live, BBC Sounds. The FA Cup semi-final, Coventry-Manchester United to come at the conclusion of this game, which is still delicately poised with 15 minutes to play. Tarkowski plays it back to Jordan Pickford. Yates and Ribeiro about to enter the field. Branthwaite, who looks okay following that knock to his ankle. There would have been concerns given that he was a doubt before this game, but he seems okay, and he's got the ball now in an auxiliary left wing position. Garner, a couple of touches to steady himself, then plays it slightly behind McNeil, who recovers and finds Decore. Back to McNeil, left foot shot, hits the post and in! A second goal for Everton. It could be absolutely massive. Dwight McNeil celebrates with a Gladys Street end. It's another goal from range, and it's another goal for Everton to make it Everton 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
The biggest goal of Everton's season potentially. That is a huge goal for Everton. A fantastic strike from outside the box. Dwight McNeil on his left foot hits the inside the post. Again, it's not the cleanest of strikes, but it evades Max Sells in the goal. It's the inside of his left-hand post in front of the Gladys Street end. Nuno Espirito de Santo now screams, looks on disconsolately. Sean Dyche in discussion with his coaching team. Listen to the noise inside this Goodison Park Stadium. Jordan Pickford away to our right, celebrating with the crowd. They believe, they think they're in the Premier League for another year. This could be a massive 3 points. This is a huge 15 minutes ahead for Everton.
That is a big moment for Everton Football Club. All the problems off the field, the points deduction, the takeover saga that is rumbling on longer than anyone would like, the move to the new stadium and the worries whether the last season here at Goodison Park might be in the Championship or the Premier League, and that goal from Dwight McNeil could be absolutely massive. Everton 2, Nottingham Forest 0. You can
feel the relief in the stadium. I mean, it's gone from nervousness. I mean, listen to the volume levels. All of a sudden, people were sat on the edge of the seats, biting the nails. 2-0. How different is that to 1-0? It's incredible, isn't it?
And you really can hear the noise. I hope it's coming across wherever you may be listening. Everton 2, Nottingham Forest 0. And for Forest, you wonder where this will leave them. They still have time to rescue it, and they're about to make a triple change because Divock Origi has joined forces. They didn't get on the pitch, actually. Yates and Ribeiro still waiting to come on. Everton rejuvenated, revitalised, and running forward again. McNeil, central position, he fancies another, better on the overlap. McNeil goes for goal himself, and Sells with a decent save parries down and keeps the score at Everton 2, Forest 0. Let's go to Hampden. What a semi-final yesterday between Celtic and Aberdeen. It'll go some way to match it, but there's been a good start. Ailey Barber.
There has been a very good start once again. An early goal in these semi-finals, and it's gone the way of Rangers. Cyril Dessers dropped at the weekend, midweek, brought back in today. He's put Rangers 1-0 up inside the opening 5 minutes. It is Rangers 1, Hearts 0.
Thank you, Ailey. Everton 2, Forest 0. Forest building on that far side, the left, to the WSL and Manchester City shortly. Good run this from Murillo, making progress. Dominguez is the offload, and he goes back to Gibbs-White. Left-hand side is Hudson-Odoi, angle of the penalty area, and now Elanga, right foot shot deflected. Branthwaite will have to deal with this. It's dropping awkwardly. Chris Wood with the acrobatics. Tarkowski flashes it away, and Decore has it now for Everton on that far side. Is he being fouled? Referee says no, drops out of play, and this will be an Everton throw Let's go straight to Selhurst Park. There's been a goal in one of the 3 o'clock games at Crystal Palace, West Ham. Paul Scott.
6 minutes played. It is Crystal Palace 1, West Ham United 0. Across from Anderson from the left, headed home by Michael Elise, who beat Lucas Fabianski to the ball. It's Palace 1, West Ham 0.
Thank you, Paul, and let's head into the WSL. Half-time between Manchester City and West Ham. Here is Nick Hatton.
Yeah, half-time, Manchester City 3, West Ham 0. Leia Uhabi giving City the lead just 24 seconds in. Then 2 Bunny Shaw goals from 2 Lauren Hemp crosses has City fully in control. Manchester City 3, West Ham 0 at the break.
And while Forest make these 3 changes, we can see how it started at Villa Park. Aston Villa Bournemouth. Charlie Slater.
Minutes gone, still goalless. Good start for Villa though, showing no signs of too much fatigue from Thursday night's exploits in the Europa Conference League. Ollie Watkins with an early sighter of goal deflected just over the crossbar. 0-0.
Thank you, Charlie. So Ribeiro, Origi and Yates. You can hear the reception that Divock Origi is getting because of his Liverpool connections. And can those 3 substitutions make a difference for Nottingham Forest? Nico Dominguez, Danilo and Hudson-Odoi are the 3 to make way. Divock Origi, who was famed really for scoring against Everton for Liverpool in his career, what Forest would give for another couple from him to get Forest back into this game. 10 minutes to play, Everton 2, Forest 0. Paul Robinson.
Yeah, and it's an attacking change by Nuno. He's made his 3 changes in one go, and he's had to. He's brought Divock Origi on, who'll play alongside Chris Wood up front. Ribeiro, I think, will play out on the left-hand side. Elanga, who's already on the right-hand side. And he'll just have Yates as the single holding midfield player now, with more attacking players on the field. So he's had a roll of the dice. He's going for it.
But they have a free kick to defend in the meantime. And there are 4 or 5 players over this for Everton. It's not in a particularly threatening position, closer to the halfway line than the penalty area. But it is a crossing opportunity, and for all the talk of set pieces and how dangerous Everton are and how poor Forest are defending them, the 2 goals have been 2 long-range efforts that have both dropped in off the post. Maybe this is Everton's moment from a set piece. Everton 2, Forest 0. 10 minutes to play. BBC Radio 5 Live, BBC Sounds. The FA Cup semi-final, Coventry Manchester United to come at the conclusion of this game. Garner swings it in, Branthwaite round the back. Sells got there first. Play on, says the referee. I think Sells wanted a free kick. Branthwaite nods it goalwards. At the back post was Harrison. Doesn't get on the end of that. Did it take a nick off a Forest man last? It did, and Everton have a corner.
Yeah, Everton keep the ball alive. That's a second ball that we spoke about before. Didn't initially win the first, but Dwight McNeil gets on the second, puts it back in the box. Dangerous ball into the far post, and all that Forest can do is head it out for yet another Everton corner.
These are big moments in the seasons of Everton and Nottingham Forest. The Forest fans look on glumly. They trail 2-0 and Everton are attacking again. Harrison into the box, right-footed ball in. Branthwaite was hungrily lurking, ready to pounce on the header. Still there for Everton. It's with McNeil, who scored the second goal for the home side. Quick feet from Young. Might be 38, but he's still got quick feet. Although the move breaks down in the penalty area. That's a foul by Harrison. Tripped Elanga. That may well be a yellow card, and it is for Jack Harrison, the latest to be booked for clearly denying Elanga escaping to what could have been, or what could have been, a decent Nottingham Forest attack.
I think we're going to see a lot of that before the end of the game.
Yes.
Everton, clever fouls. It's all about game management now. They've got to see this game out, get to the end of the game with the scoreline intact as it is, and the foul there from Jack Harrison deep into the Nottingham Forest half is not going to cause him or his team any problems. They're going to try and be as disruptive as they can between now and the end of the game. Everton slow things down and break up play.
Branthwaite rather dangerously to Pickford, who thumps it out of play and then apologises to his team. I think aware that he's put Everton in a dangerous position. It's a throw to Nottingham Forest, and it'll be launched into the box by Ola Aina on this near side, the Nottingham Forest right. Forest who go to Manchester, or play Manchester City next at home, then an away game against Sheffield United, then home to Chelsea. They end away at Burnley. That could be colossal if Burnley continue what they're doing. Aina's throw launched into the box, headed away by Decore. Gibbs-White has to go all the way back to Matt Sells, who's inside his own half. Right-footed angle ball towards the edge of the penalty area. Wood rises and nods to Elanga, who's just outside the box on that left-hand side. He's running at Young. He's away from Young into the box. Good covering, Idrissa Gueye. Scorer of the first Everton goal, and some good defending there to alleviate the pressure on Everton. Now looking to turn defence into attack. Beto surging through the defence. Niakate with a well-timed challenge, despite the protests of the Everton fans. And Forest can go again. 6 and a bit minutes to play. Everton lead this game by 2-0.
Really good defending by Niakate then. Everton on the break and the pace of Beto. Harrison just looking for him. Niakate went every step of the way with Beto and timed his challenge to perfection.
You feel if Forest are to mount a comeback, they need something imminently. 6 minutes to go. Gibbs-White, who has been strangely quiet considering his very high standards. He's not had the freedom to dictate as he often does in the Forest midfield. Wood bounces off the New Zealand striker, and that's easy for Everton to deal with. Decore and Tarkowski back to Pickford, who this time, conscious of the mistake he made a few moments ago, goes long and very long, deep inside the Forest half. Controlled header by Murillo to Gibbs-White, and Yates is having to start his creative work from a very defensive position inside the centre circle. Plays it out to Williams on this near side, the right, but the play on the halfway line for Forest. They're keeping nice possession in the sunshine at Goodison Park, but they're not doing a great deal with it, and they need to. Gibbs-White turns away from Decore with ease, now sets off towards the penalty area. Shrugged off the ball by Decore, and referee Anthony Taylor is coming back for the initial foul rather than the second infringement, where it looked like Decore got the ball.
This is going to be the story of the game now, between now and the final whistle. It's attack versus defence. Everton are working so hard. They're allowing Nottingham Forest possession, as much possession as they want from the halfway line inside their own half. As soon as they get to a certain point, the trigger there for the Everton press, Everton going to try and be very, very compact. They just want to see this game out now.
Forest have this free kick, and it won't be taken just yet because Anthony Taylor wants a word or two with a couple of players. A few words in the direction of Tarkowski and Yates. Gibbs-White, hands on hips with this free kick that's very close to the halfway line. Right-footed, angled in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Yates wins his header. Mikolenko then volleys clear at the front post. Out of play for a Forest throw. Everton 2, Forest 0. 4 minutes to play.
Yeah, Forest are throwing everything at Everton now. We've got another long throw this side from Aina, and every single person bar Nico Williams is going into the Everton box.
Can Forest get something? And the whole atmosphere would change again. Aina with the throw, much longer this time. Tarkowski powerfully, authoritatively heads it away. Aina swings it back in. That's a good ball. Back post is Elanga. Harrison with some part of the anatomy gets it away. Young can clear, and he'll win a throw for his side, level with the edge of his own penalty area. And in someone like Ashley Young, Abdoulaye Decore, Idrissa Gueye, James Tarkowski, Everton do have the experienced players on the field to see this out for them.
They've got leaders and they've got voices, and from that free kick there, what Forest launched into the Everton box, you can see Tarkowski, you can see Young, you can see the instructions that they're passing out to the rest of the team. There seems to be a togetherness, a willingness not to get beaten today.
The FA Cup semi-final to follow here on 5 Live. Coventry against Manchester United. I imagine the Sky Blues fans are very, very excited at Wembley. Fulham-Liverpool, the latest instalment of the title race. 4:30 start on 5 Sports Extra. 5 Live will join it as and when. Still life in this game yet if Forest can find a way back in. Yates has been fouled by Garner. Those two know each other very well. And it's a free kick to Forest, dead centre of the Everton half. Into the final 3 minutes we go. Nuno, hands folded, turns away now. Has a hand on his chin. He looks pensive. There's been another goal at Selhurst Park. We'll go there after this free kick for Forest. Gibbs-White floats it into the penalty area. Pickford comes and punches. More up than out. Helped out by Beto, who heads clear. Williams picks it up. He's forced out of play, and Beto slams it forward, and Aina can start again for Forest, but the referee will hold it back because Dwight McNeil, I think, clattered into the hoardings.
It's Nico Williams. It looks a nasty one. He's gone backwards over right into the Everton fans. Everyone stood up in front of us. We can't see it, but the physios have gone rushing over to him. It's Nico Williams who's hit the boards backwards and gone flying into the Everton supporters. Yeah, that's a nasty crash there between Williams and the advertising hoarding. So play halted while he can receive treatment. We can't actually see him at the moment because he is right underneath the stand that we are in. And there is a little bit of concern for Nico Williams, who is receiving treatment. So while we have this break, he's been lifted to his feet now.
and hopefully he will be okay to continue. I think he's just winded. So while we have this break in play, let's go back to Selhurst Park. Another goal at Crystal Palace, West Ham, Paul Scott.
And another goal for the home side. 16 minutes gone. It's Crystal Palace 2, West Ham 0. Michael Elise fed through Mateta. Mateta's shot was saved by Fabianski, and the rebound emphatically finished by Eberechi Eze. It is Palace 2, West Ham 0.
Thank you, Paul. Still Aston Villa 0, Bournemouth 0 at Villa Park. Nico Williams is okay. That was a hefty coming together between Williams and advertising hoarding, and they're made of stern stuff, aren't they, the advertising hoardings? If you clatter into one of those, you feel it.
So's Nico Williams if he's got up okay from that. I mean, he went over the advertising hoardings. I think he ended up on row 6 or 7. So to get up that quickly, he's done extremely well.
He got a nice round of applause from the Everton fans. I know he's a former Liverpool player, but they appreciated that could have been nasty. We are back underway. Everton move it out of their defensive third. It's with Idrissa Gueye, who got Everton off to that good start in the first half. Now Harrison McNeil through the Forest midfield, intercepted. And it's with Ribeiro who's moving forward for Forest, edge of the penalty area. Elanga's on this left-hand side in towards Origi, just over his head. He was lurking with intent there, Origi, but the ball didn't quite get to him. Elanga has it back on the left-hand angle of the penalty area. Aina now takes over. Forest needs something. We've only got 10 seconds of normal time to play. Elanga is fouled, as he know. Referee told him emphatically to get to his feet. Forest would have had a free kick on the edge of the penalty area. Anthony Taylor disagreed, and Beto, more brilliant hold-up play on the halfway line. That's exactly what you need from your striker in the dying embers of the game as we enter 9 minutes of added on time. So there is still life in this game as we enter 9 minutes of stoppage time. Everton 2, Forest 0, 5 live BBC Sounds. But Beto has done exactly what his manager would have wanted him to do.
I know we've had a few stoppages and a fair few substitutions, but 9 minutes, I think that's a bit excessive. I know we're in the time where now we're 4 minutes, what used to be excessive.
Yeah.
Anything above that now is seen as as the norm. But 9, I can't see where he's got 9 from.
No, that does seem a little much. But Forest certainly won't mind. They still have an opportunity to get something from this game, but they need the ball in the Everton half, and that's not where it is. It's very close to the corner flag in the Forest half. Harrison and Elanga skirmish on that far side that breaks Beto's way, and now Decore on the edge. Decore onto his right foot. This would finish it for Everton. Didn't really have the angle to shoot. He's back onto his left foot. Still got it, Decore on the edge, and there was an inevitability that would break down. Forest can't do a great deal with the ball forward, and that's out of play for an Everton throw. And the fans are important again here, trying to urge their team to what would be a huge victory. Everton moving 5 points clear of the relegation zone, and they still have a game in hand on those below them. Forest would be a point clear of Luton going into next weekend. Forest, who have difficult games, Manchester City and Chelsea still to play at home, away games against Sheffield United and Burnley, the two sides that we all thought were dead and buried, but in Burnley's case, you never know. Gibbs White, left-hand side of the centre circle inside the Everton half, and now Yates smoothly into the pass of Williams, right-hand side of the penalty area, right foot shot by Ribeiro was blocked at source, and Decore and Elanga, who is that down there? Gibbs White collide, and immediately the referee wants attention to both because that was a nasty looking head injury.
Yeah, the Everton players have quickly gathered round Beto. I think it is a really nasty clash of heads, and Dwight McNeil's seen it. He's walking away. They've got their head in their hands. This doesn't look very nice for either player. This could be some time. That was an awful clash of heads, and it's clearly affecting the Everton players on the pitch that have seen it.
So Beto and Gibbs White are both receiving treatment. Gibbs White is up and on all fours, which is good to see, and Beto is still receiving treatment. So while we have this stoppage, another goal at Selhurst Park. Palace West Ham, Paul Scott.
Crystal Palace are tearing West Ham apart here. It is Crystal Palace 3, West Ham 0. We play 21 minutes. Across from the left from Will Hughes, diverted into his own net by Emerson at the far post. West Ham do not know what's hit them. The exertions in midweek has perhaps taken it out of them. It is all Palace. They lead by 3-0.
Crystal Palace looking to build on that excellent win over Liverpool, and they're doing just that. Everton are concerned about Beto, I think it's fair to say, Paul Robinson, because the stretcher is being called for, and you can always tell the body language of players when something like this happens. And Ashley Young, Dwight McNeil, Vitaly Mikolenko, they're all coming to this near side and they all look stunned.
This isn't a nice injury for Beto. It's awful to see, and I think the immediate reaction from the Everton players who were in the immediate vicinity of the incident tells you a lot. And we've got 5, 6, maybe 7 medical staff on the pitch, and Beto still hasn't moved. He's laid face down into the Goodison Park turf. The ambulance staff with a stretcher have come on the field, but at the moment Beto still hasn't moved. The players have moved away. They're all on this near side down here taking instruction from Ian Woan and Sean Dyche. But this is certainly an injury that needs to be taken care of properly, and this is going to take some time.
Yeah, a head injury, neck injury, and the medical team are making sure that they are providing the best care with several players still just around the incident. There are 5 or 6 Nottingham Forest players with hands on hips. Drissa Gay is there for Everton, and the majority of the players are on this near side. Yusuf Chermati is about to come on for Everton, the young Portuguese striker. We've played 95 minutes now, 9 were added on, but we'll be going a long way over that because of this injury to Beto. Everton lead this game by 2-0. Gibbs White is okay, by the way. He is having a word with Anthony Taylor. It was one of those that straight away you could tell, Paul, when Gibbs White and Beto collided, you just knew. The reaction of the players, fans also realised there was a hush.
The injury, I mean, Beto was blindsided. Gibbs White was coming to the ball head on, but Beto it looked like he was trying to turn the ball around the corner with his head, and I think it was the side of Beto's head that got caught. I mean, the Everton fans now that they're booing Gibbs White, who's coming over to this near side, but there's nothing he can do. I mean, He's got his head in his shirt. I mean, he can see the scale of the injury. And Beto's still surrounded by medical staff. I think he's been very, very carefully turned over in the middle of the pitch. But there's 6 medical teams still hunched over him. The stretcher is behind them. He's still not on the stretcher. This is a serious injury, and as you said, you could tell by the reaction of the players. Dwight McNeil immediately, head in hands, walked away. Ashley Young exactly the same.
Everton 2, Nottingham Forest 0. This incident is happening right in the middle of the Everton half, equidistant between centre circle and penalty area, and the utmost care is being taken here to deal with this injury for Beto. So let's go to Villa Park. Chance for Charlie Slater watching Villa Bournemouth.
Couple of chances, Chris, one at either end. 25 minutes gone, still 0-0. First for Aston Villa, Moussa Diaby, the ball on a plate for him, 8 yards out from some lovely tricky wing play from Leon Bailey, but Diaby put it wide at the other end. Excellent ball from Lloyd Kelly, in swinging to the back post. Dango Ouattara is there, but he can only find the side netting. Still 0-0.
Thank you, Charlie. Beto is being very carefully placed onto a stretcher. The medical staff have indicated that he'll be taken out of the corner of Goodison Park, where we presume there will be a waiting ambulance. There are plenty of police and medical staff in the corner of Goodison Park, where the Bullens Road stand meets the park stand. Still, the players are close by Paul Robinson, which I can take as a good sign, because they're obviously very, very concerned about what is happening, but you feel if it had been extremely serious, the players would have probably been asked to move away.
You've got to give so much credit to the medical teams, how quickly they responded to this incident. And because it was the head injury, there's been one medic there who hasn't left the top of Beto's head and neck, and made sure that he was supported at all times, and he's still not properly on the stretcher. There's a couple of medical staff that have moved away, so you would hope that he's whether he lost consciousness or not, we don't know. You'd hope that he's fully conscious, and they're seemingly now very, very slowly putting him on the board before putting him onto the stretcher. It's an awful incident, one that you don't want to see.
98th minute. We played 4 of the 9, so there will be a significant period added on. Everton 2, Forest 0. Let's go back up to Hampden. Another big chance in the Scottish Cup semi-final. Ailey Barber.
Yeah, well, Rangers are still leading by that goal to 0, but a huge chance for Hearts. Frankie Kent getting on the end of a long ball, and it was a brilliant point-blank save from Jack Butland to deny Hearts an equaliser in this one. It's becoming a more open game, more even. Rangers, though, still with that 1-0 lead.
Everton leading this game by 2-0. We will be across to Wembley as soon as we are done here at Goodison Park. The FA Cup semi-final between Coventry and Manchester United just about to get underway. We will be there on 5 Live as soon as we're done here. Still, Beto is being very, very carefully lifted onto a more supportive stretcher. Beto, who clashed with Morgan Gibbs-White. It was a ball in the air. Gibbs-White and Beto both challenging for it midway through the Everton half, and both hit the deck with some force. And Beto, who was face down for a good few minutes, has been very carefully turned onto his front and is now, with the greatest of care, being lifted onto the stretcher, and he will be taken off into the corner of Goodison Park. We're into the 100th minute here. Everton 2, Nottingham Forest 0, and understandably, Paul, whenever an incident like this happens, the atmosphere is sombre. For all the talk of points deductions and how big this is, there are always more important things.
Well, I don't care who you are or where your loyalties lie. An incident like that, it hits you in the pit of the stomach, and when you see it at first hand, there's been no replays. There's been no replays of the incident, which shows you how serious it was. And you can hear now the round of applause and respect from both sets of supporters.
Beto is being carried off on a stretcher and is getting a standing ovation. Penalty at Villa Park, Charlie Slater.
There is, though there are VAR checks abound here, but it's a penalty to Bournemouth. Dominic Solanke's got the ball by his hip at the moment. The penalty has happened because Milos Krkic was brought down by Matty Cash down the left-hand side. We've played 28 minutes here, and the referee, Tim Robinson, has now pointed at the spot. The reason why there were checks being made is because Villa thought that there should have been a free kick in the build-up. Diaby went down holding his back under a challenge from the Bournemouth defender Marcos Senesi, but the referee content for the penalty to take place. So Krkic fouled by Matty Cash, and who's in goal but Emi Martinez, the man whose antics/heroics saw them win a penalty shootout in northern France in the Europa Conference League on Thursday evening. And boy, do Villa love Emi Martinez. Dominic Solanke has his hands on his hips in front of the Holt end. He already has 17 goals this season, the Bournemouth man. Emi Martinez, who was introduced as simply the best goalkeeper in the world before kick-off here over the PA, is against Dominic Solanke. We've played nearly half an hour. It is 0-0, but there is some pushing and shoving now on the edge of the 18-yard box, jostling for position between a couple of players. Luca Dean, the Aston Villa player involved. I can't quite see who the Bournemouth man is because Pau Torres is obscuring my view. I think it's Dango Ouattara. The boos now reach a crescendo as the shoving dies down. Dominic Solanke with his right foot in the West Midlands sunshine against Emi Martinez. He scores, puts it past Martinez, the perfect penalty, and Bournemouth lead by a 1-0.
Thank you, Charlie. You've not missed much here at Goodison Park. Everton keeping possession, trying to run the clock down. Everton 2, Forest 0. We had 9 minutes added on. We've played 102 minutes now, so we're into the 12th minute of added time. How much we will play, only Anthony Taylor knows, because that stoppage to deal with a Beto injury, Paul Robinson, was a good 6-7 minutes.
There's one thing you can say for sure, is that I think we're on for the longest Premier League game in history today, possibly. It was an awful incident. We just wish Beto well, all the very, very best, and you hope for him that his team can get it over the line.
Everton 2, Forest 0. They're underway at Wembley. We'll be right there at the conclusion of this game. Semi-final between Manchester United and Coventry. We're heading to Arsenal in the WSL next. Another goal for Becky Ives.
Arsenal 2, Leicester 0. Steph Catley did most of the work from the midfield, just skipping through the Leicester defence. She wasn't selfish. She squared it to Alessia Russo, who tapped it home from close range. Arsenal 2, Leicester 0.
Everton 2, Forest 0. 103 minutes. They're underway at Wembley. Clinton Morrison and John Murray.
Yes, Bruno Fernandes kicked off this second of the FA Cup semi-finals, and I can confirm that Casemiro is indeed playing in central defence alongside Harry Maguire because of all of the injuries that Manchester United have. And Manchester United on the attack with Bruno Fernandes. The ball played across to Garnacho on the edge of the area. A left foot shot which is blocked on the edge of the box. That's the first attack of any meaning. It is Coventry City 0, Manchester United 0.
And we will be right with you, John, at the conclusion of this game. Everton 2, Forest 0 in the Premier League. Everton on the verge of a big win to take them 5 points clear of the relegation zone. Here is Origi battling away with 2 Everton players. Niakate rolls it to Murillo through the centre circle. Do Forest have anything left to give? As we tick into the 104th minute, Gibbs-White, Ilanga, those 2 exchange passes just outside the penalty area. And now Ola Aina, far side the left, slowing it right down, almost at walking pace, looking to try and get the cross in. It comes in now from Gibbs-White. That looks way too much for Williams, who just about keeps it in play, but heads it only into the hands of Jordan Pickford. Everton 2, Nottingham Forest 0. Another goal at Selhurst Park. Paul Scott.
It is total dominance. Crystal Palace 4, West Ham 0. We've played 32 minutes. Michael Olise, who scored the opener after 6 minutes, turning provider as he slid the ball across for Jean-Philippe Mateta to get in on the act, sliding it under Lukasz Fabianski. West Ham do not know what's hit them. It is Crystal Palace 4, West Ham 0.
4 goals there. We've seen 2 goals here. Bournemouth leading at Aston Villa. Both the Villa-Bournemouth games and the Palace-West Ham games online. Back to John Murray at Wembley.
We're in the 4th minute. Coventry City 0, Manchester United 0. And it is Hoyland who's bursting forward into the Coventry right-back area, but he plays it back up the line to Rashford. And Manchester United now on the move again. Rashford beats his man into the box, right foot shot deflected to Bruno Fernandes just outside the D. A ball out to the right hand side for him. Gallo is on the chase for this. Gallo has Garnacho at close quarters. Garnacho now attacking into the box, goes for the byline, pulls it across, and it's cleared away over the top of the Coventry City crossbar. First corner of the match for Manchester United. Let's get a first word from Clinton Morrison.
Yeah, it's been a good start from both teams, but Man United look really good going forward down that left-hand side. Rashford's done ever so well, but as you said there, John, good defending from Thomas.
Yep, Manchester United about to have this set piece, but back to you, Chris.
Everton still lead by 2 goals to 0 against Forest. 106th minute of this Premier League game. Branthwaite heads away for Everton. Forest are just unable to put any sort of pressure on the Everton back line, but they do have a free kick on the halfway line. So let's head back to Becky Ives in the WSL watching Arsenal-Leicester.
Well, surely Arsenal have wrapped this up now. Arsenal 3, Leicester 0. Alessia Russo with the initial shot was saved, and it was pushed into the path of Beth Mead for her second to tap home from close range. Arsenal 3, Leicester 0.
Forest free kick, Gibbs-White, angle towards the back post. It goes all the way through, and you can hear the relief from the Everton fans. That's out of play for a goal kick. 106 minutes have been played. Everton 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
We've got no idea, have we, how much time is going to be added on. We know with the horrible injury to Beto happened in the 9 minutes of injury time. We don't know what's on the referee's watch. You can only imagine there's going to be at least another 9 minutes on top of that. I mean, you can hear the Everton fans now. They're only just now starting to believe at this point in the game. Jordan Pickford with the goal kick, everybody up the field.
They're moving 5 points clear of the relegation zone, with a big Merseyside derby to come in the week, and then a home game against Brentford. It felt a big week for Everton, and they are starting it in the perfect manner. The Forest end emptying. Not too many replica red shirts have remained in the Bullens Road stand. Origi now, the former Liverpool man. He's all in red again today for the red of Forest. Not really had an effect so far. And he's clattered into Mikalenko. And there is the full-time whistle. It's a huge win for Everton in the Premier League. They've beaten Nottingham Forest by 2 goals to 0. Idrissa Gueye in the first half, Dwight McNeil in the second half. They are 5 points clear of the relegation zone. Nottingham Forest remain in danger and just a point clear. Everton 2, Nottingham Forest 0.